American Rescue. Give all the money to corporations.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is February 24th, 2021. This is episode 304, and today, Dirty Waccine Powerplay. And, you know me, I am not CERN's Employee of the Month, but I am your best buddy Basil.
And this is Gonz. Welcome to the podcast where we praise Jesus while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And speaking of world events, breaking
Dun, dun,
as
dun.
we start. This is Reuters.com. Fed says restoring disruptive FedWire, other services. It's happening, Basil. The Federal Reserve wire system is going down.
That's right. The Federal Reserve on Wednesday said it is restoring. Notice how they don't start out with saying that, just all federal money-moving fiat glorification services are down. No. The Federal Reserve on Wednesday said it was restoring services disrupted by an, quote, operational error that resulted in outages for a dozen areas, including check clearing and FedWire, which handles trillions dollars.
Trillions and trillions.
You can tell that this was such a big story, and Reuters was trying to be the first one out with it, because it says, which handles trillions dollars in transactions daily for the world's biggest banks. That's right. And we have a quote here. A Federal Reserve operational error resulted in disruption of service in several business lines, the Fed said in an emailed statement. How do we get the Federal Reserve email? I want to be on the Federal Reserve email list. Quote, we are restoring services and are communicating with all Federal Reserve Financial Services customers about the status of operations. Dun, dun, dun. So big news going on. So, hopefully you got your Bitcoin early. But what do you think, Gonz? What are they? Is this the Black Swan event?
Could be. How are the markets doing, by the way? Has this affected the price of Bitcoin?
I don't know. So this actually happened. When did it actually happen?
12:43 Eastern
PM,
time.
Eastern Standard Time. So that was a couple of hours ago, I think.
Well, a couple hours ago. It's not affecting the price of Bitcoin yet, although there was a big crash over the last few days. It says the website reported an alert status for FedWire, Fed ACH, which is the thing that connects all banks and other financial services to each other. So if you want to move, for example, even crypto exchanges, if you want to move money from your bank account to your crypto exchange or whatever, they use Fed ACH. That's what they use to connect it. So. The affected services. Yeah,
and this is what banks use to trade money with each other.
The affected services form the hidden backbone to the U.S. banking system. It's not hidden, is it? Hidden backbone. That sounds
it's
really
the hidden backbone.
Nefarious. It's not hidden. But anyway, facilitating check clearing and allowing billions of dollars of payments to flow daily through the financial system. FedWire is, quote, the premier electronic fund transfer service that banks, businesses, and government agencies rely on for mission-critical same-day transactions, the Fed said. The FedWire fund in December handled more than 835,000 transactions a day on average, with a daily average dollar volume of $3.4 trillion. Whew. This is crazy. So there's other stories, other outlets that are reporting this as well. Do you want to... Well, let me just take a look at one of these real quick here just to see if there's another angle. This is Atlanta Journal. Breaking Federal Reserve banking system reports nationwide outage. It's unclear what caused the quagmire. And I mean, this is okay. So it's interesting how it mentions the cryptocurrency exchanges. This is cryptocurrency exchange Gemini reported being affected by the blackout system known as FedWire.
Well, isn't that funny?
Yeah.
That's a funny. It's a funny thing for them to be pointing out, because of course, cryptocurrency has had quite the surge in popularity again recently, and this FedWire and the connected services. I mean, it affects so many critical aspects of our daily, economy and daily lives. But it's very interesting how they are specifically pointing out that it affects cryptocurrency exchanges, where it's like, yeah, okay, it affects exchanges, but it also affects, I don't know, every bank, fiat bank in America, and every stock exchange transfer service. But it's they gotta take a dig at cryptocurrency whenever they can, because it's part of the distraction, because this affects cryptocurrency in the aspect where it might slow down you turning your fiat dollars into cryptocurrency. Right. But it's, as far as the cryptocurrency networks itself, this is exactly what they were designed to avoid.
Right.
Because, you might not be able to, use Coinbase or some exchange right now to turn your dollars into cryptocurrency. But if you already have cryptocurrency, you can send that around fine. The Federal Reserve has nothing to do with moving cryptocurrency around.
Yeah.
So it's a fun little dig that they're trying to take at cryptocurrency. It may or may not hinder your ability at this moment to turn fiat dollars into cryptocurrency. So it's a little reminiscent of like, when Robinhood shut down trading for GameStop or something.
Right.
This is kind of a glitch that's like, nope, no more buying cryptocurrency right now.
Well, yeah, that's really interesting. This Wall Street Journal has a quote from the Federal Reserve. It says a Federal Reserve operational error resulted in disruption of service in several business lines. We are restoring services and are communicating with all Federal Reserve financial service customers about the status of operations, said Jim Strader, a spokesman for the Fed's Richmond Reserve Bank. That's in the email. Let's see. Well, I can't get the full story because I'm not a member of Wall Street Journal.
Operational error?
Yeah, I was going to say.
That sounds like, I don't know. I might need to try to see if there's a technical definition to this. But operational error means, a human being made a whoopsie.
Right.
And everything went down. So it's got this very interesting aspect of the story where they're not calling it a glitch. They're not calling it a software error or a hardware error. They're saying a human being shut down these systems, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it is weird. You never hear it described as an operational error.
Yeah, and also if you're going to speculate, admittedly speculating, if we're talking about a false flag event to take down, we've talked about the cyber pandemic and just the whole disruption of the economy and everything else. I don't know. Is this a planned event to try to expose the issues with the Federal Reserve? What conspiracy theorists have been saying for years about the faultiness of the Federal Reserve? Is this just a way to start...
You're saying might be a great reset play.
Oh, yeah. Reset this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it could be a purposeful exposing of the infrastructure, like we saw with the hack at the end of last year, right? It was all big hack with all of the top 500, Fortune 500 companies. This feels similar in that regard. So we'll keep an eye on it. This was breaking as we were going live, so we had to jump on it right at the get-go here. And if anything else pops up about it, we'll let you guys know. But hey, we're here. We're welcome to the show, everybody. Breaking news as we record live.
That's always fun.
Yeah.
That's always fun. That hasn't happened since the impeachment
or the Capitol Hill insurrection.
Yeah, well, that was fun. January. Every Wednesday show had some sort of huge breaking news.
Yeah.
Okay, well, sounds good. We'll keep an eye on that as we go through the show today. But as a reminder, if you haven't done it yet, please go ahead and like, subscribe, bell button all.
Like, subscribe, bell button all. Like, subscribe, bell button all.
That's right. Very important that we get those likes early on in the show. That's just how the algorithms work. And as a reminder, if you're looking for something to do while you listen to the show, you should go ahead and post it on your social media, because only a few more days to get in on the Canary Cry Silver giveaway for February. And, it's super easy to get in on this. Just post on your social media. Just give the link to this episode and hashtag it Canary Cry News Talk, and go ahead and say something nice, and you will be entered into the Canary Cry Silver giveaway. We'll be doing that in just a few days. So there you go. Not only can you support the show with your spreading the word, but you can also get paid to do it, baby. Okay. Anything else before we get into the Flippy update, Gons?
Yeah, I was going to ask, and this is completely irrelevant to anything, but my, I don't know if you could see, my mustache and my beard are getting pretty long, pretty out of control. And I don't know if I should keep it going or if I should trim it. So I'll let people in the chat.
Are we asking for public? We should do a poll.
We should.
Just see what happens. I don't know. I think you should keep growing it out as much as humanly possible.
It's never been this long. It's pretty wild. I mean, it's getting in the way of when I eat and stuff. It's like the first time. Oh, and the other thing, the baby grabs onto it. Oh, it's so painful. Have you ever had facial hair grabbed by a young 3-month-old?
Not a human.
Oh, it's not a human. Yeah, it's it hurts, man. It's
I think the real question is, Gons, what does the wife think?
Oh yeah. She wants me to trim it, obviously. But I said not if the people don't want it trimmed.
No, wife. I need to do what the internet wants me to do.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. All right. Good. Well, let's get on into the Flippy update.
Okay.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Okay, folks, time for the Flippy update. If you're new to the show, we'll just let you know that Flippy is the colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a proxy conversation to discuss how robotics and AI are taking over the world, and there's nothing we can do about it. Today, I got a story coming from miragenews.com, which is kind of a weird name for a news site, but the Mirage. The headline is HLHC, that's the Large Hadron Collider, radiation protection robot passes first in-cavern test with flying colors. That's right, folks. Flippy has gone full interdimensional, getting a job over at CERN. The CERN Crane Bot is such a creative name. Crane Bot is seen here carrying a VAX module. Are they vaccinating the Large Hadron Collider?
I was going to say, I don't know why they call it the VAX module, but yeah, all right.
I think maybe like it's a HVAC type of situation.
Maybe.
I don't know. Carrying it might be that because, within the Large Hadron Collider, they have to maintain a vacuum for it to create, interdimensional portals. Okay. The CERN Crane Bot is seen here carrying a VAX module inside the CMS cavern. As part of an operation test conducted in early February 2021, the robot, which has been developed at CERN, had previously been tested in dedicated areas for the specific task before the final test in the cavern for a planned start of operation during Long Shutdown 3. Long Shutdown 3. The versatile and handy Crane Bot has been designed to install and carry out routine maintenance work on a variety of equipment in areas that higher radiation levels caused by the planned tenfold increase in luminosity or HLLHC, will make unsuitable for human intervention. This is particularly relevant for areas at the interface between the collider and the experiments, which house the VAX, Vacuum Assembly for Experimental Area Equipment.
Interesting.
Okay, sure. During future maintenance shutdowns, these components will be dismantled and rearranged in a series of independent modules that are adapted for handling and operation by the CraneBot, CERN CraneBot. So there you go. Flippy's got a job over at CERN. I'm curious how they did this job beforehand, if it's so radiation-y.
Well, I'm pretty sure I've seen a lot of footage. I think humans were doing it. People were doing it with like giant, not cranes, but similar to cranes. They had like big lifts and stuff, and I think they were doing it manually with multiple people.
That's intense. Were they all in their bunny suits, their
ET they were in
radiation suits?
Yeah. So this is
it's interesting. I was kind of joking that Flippy, was being used to do work where exactly where the portal's open, but that's exactly what this says.
Yep.
They needed a robot to handle repairs and maintenance right at the intersection between the collider and the place where they actually smash and, open up particles and shoot out tiny little alien seeds.
Or it's where they open the gates of the gods.
Yeah. Wow.
That's a jingle from Joe that we haven't used, but we're going to start using the gates of the gods jingle for CERN stories here.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It kind of harkens a little bit to, the Holy of Holies in the Old Testament.
Yes.
Where they had to tie a rope around the priest to send the high priest into the Holy of Holies, which is where the presence of God was so strong that he might die and they have to pull him out.
Yeah.
In the worldview of the, supernatural side of CERN, where they are opening the gates of the gods right there at LHC, Flippy is kind of like the high priest getting sent in with bells on his toes.
Yeah, humans are no longer worthy to open the portal. It's got to be a robot.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, death. It's happening, folks.
It's happening. And I did see another story about some particles that were found in Antarctica from an ancient black hole, and the black hole was basically a natural CERN hadron collider in space. I didn't include it today.
I did not hear about this.
You didn't hear about it? Okay, hold on.
They found particles in the ice of Antarctica that they think came from a black hole?
Something like that. Hold on. Let me the ghost particle.
Okay.
Ghost particle that crashed into Antarctica traced back to star shredded by black hole. Yeah, let me
ghost particle.
Yeah.
I have not heard about this.
Okay.
This is how the beginning of the movie starts.
Yeah, so this is the story. CNET.
The world is plunged into chaos. A pandemic rages. Corruption and wars are spreading across the face of the earth. And then came the ghost particle.
Right. Yeah, the headline from CNET from the 22nd of February: ghost particle that crashed into Antarctica traced back to star shredded by black hole. A black hole gobbled up a star in deep space and flung a high-energy subatomic bullet at the Earth. Don't worry, the planet's doing fine. And they talk about on October 19th.
How did they know this?
Well, that's kind of what's interesting. They say October 1st, 2019, Earth was struck by an invisible high-energy cosmic bullet moving at almost the speed of light. Trillions of these intergalactic bullets pass through our bodies every second without us even knowing. So there's no great concern for the planet. But this particular projectile was special. At the bottom of the world, the ghostly particle met its end after colliding with an ice molecule. Fortunately, it did so right next to an extremely sensitive detector embedded underneath the South Pole. So, hey, we have detectors, particle detectors embedded under the ice of Antarctica. Are they giving away the plot here?
Yeah, this sounds pretty sure this happened in Transformers.
The detection set off an intergalactic hunt for the celestial gunslinger. What had fired that bullet? A new research published in the journal Nature Astronomy on Monday, scientists detail the detection of a subatomic particle known as a neutrino at the Ice Cube Neutrino Observatory in Antarctica. Using data from the Zwicky Transient Facility at California's Palomar Observatory, researchers were able to trace the origins of the subatomic bullet back to an extreme event some 700 million years ago.
How do they trace the origin?
I don't know. It all sounds like,
maybe it was a chronovisor situation.
Yeah, they use a chronovisor. Neutrinos are often described as ghost particles. Yeah, so I mean, it's CNET. It's not like this is some fringe blog, but it does sound like the beginning of a really sci-fi alien movie. Pandemic. Yeah. You got robots working. It sounds like
somebody over at the Lear Foundation, was consulting on a sci-fi movie or something.
Right. Well, the CERN news doesn't end there, or CERN adjacent as far as the ghost particle is concerned. But back to the gates of the gods. This is phys.org. High energy radiotherapy could paint tumors to avoid harming healthy tissue. And it says here that a radiotherapy technique which paints tumors by targeting them precisely and avoiding healthy tissue has been devised in a research led by the University of Strathclyde. Researchers used a magnetic lens to focus a very high electron energy, a V beam, to a zone of a few millimeters. Concentrating the radiation into a small volume of high dose will enable it to be rapidly scanned across a tumor while controlling its intensity. It's being proposed as an alternative form to current radiotherapy. And the study was undertaken at the CERN Linear Electron Accelerator for Research, CLEAR. CLEAR.
Yeah, this is the not the circular one. It's the big, long, straight one.
The single shot.
Interesting.
And involved researchers at CERN, the University of Oxford, and the National Physical Laboratory, the John Adams Institute for Accelerated Science, the University of Napoli Federico II, the University of Oslo, and Saclay Nuclear Research Center in France. It's been published in Nature Communication Physics. And so this is interesting because, one of the things I predicted for the year, this year and next year, is that they're going to really start figuring out or announcing publicly the end of cancer. We're going to eliminate cancer with all the technologies, whether it be by CRISPR or some other thing. But this type of technology where they can, because part of the problem with the current radiotherapy is that, you get to maybe slow down the tumors and stuff, but it's also totally weakening your entire immune system. Like all your tissue gets bombarded with radiation. And so, that's why people lose their hair and all that stuff. But if they can pinpoint it, if they can direct all that energy into one spot, just where the tumor is, well, then, it's much better. So,
it's fascinating. I was actually speaking with somebody. This was last year sometime, and they were explaining to me. They are a scientist type person. I don't know what the exact job description was, but they were working on this. I forget if it was proton or photon therapy, but the way they were describing it sounded almost like I don't know. Just so futuristic, shooting invisible lasers directly into cancer cells and not harming anything else around it.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive idea, but if anybody can do it, apparently it's CERN. Maybe Flippy had something to do with it.
Oh yeah. It's Flippy is going to help us get rid of your cancer, and also opening portals. Just Flippy's doing everything.
Ooh, maybe it's opening a portal in your body.
Oh, see? Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. Destroy that temple.
All right. Well, good job, CERN.
Yeah. So speaking of tumors and cancer,
33 is the number of completion of the Great War.
Thought this was interesting here. This is technologynetworks.com. the role of interleukin 33 in skin and pancreatic cancers. And it says chronic inflammation drives the development of various cancers, including those of the skin, colon, and pancreas. Investigators at Massachusetts General Hospital, who previously demonstrated high expression levels of an immune molecule called interleukin 33, or IL-33, during cancer-promoting inflammation, have now uncovered the details behind the molecule's effect. And basically, the researchers found that activating nuclear IL-33 in chronic inflammatory conditions of the skin and pancreas modifies a signaling pathway called SMAD within cells to stimulate abnormal cell growth and division, ultimately resulting in cancer. Therefore, inhibiting the expression and or function of IL-33 within the nucleus of cancer-prone cells may help prevent cancers associated with inflammation. So there you go. 33. IL-33 is what causes at least skin cancer and pancreatic cancer. Who would have thought?
Not me.
Yeah, there's some signaling going on there too, I bet. So
Yeah.
33 being the Illuminati dog whistle. And one more 33 update here.
33 is the number of completion of the Great War.
Fox8.com, cold streak over. NE Ohio ends 33-day stretch of temps under 40. Could end another streak this weekend. So, hey, everybody in Ohio, good job. You made it. You made the 33-day streak of weather under 40 degrees.
That's you combine weather modification with the 33-day ritual. The ritual's over, folks. Should start warming up again.
Yeah, good job. You survived. Or did you?
Uh-oh.
All right, let's get into some politic here.
It's Latin for many. Now suck your blood. Now suck
Politics.
your blood.
This first story, real briefly, just to mention, Crowder is banned. CanadaFreePress.com. No retreat. Exclusive proof of voter fraud. What?
I was looking at this website, Canada Free Press. It's obviously it's Canadian or
you like the outlet
as Canadian, but the
subheading,
the tagline, the subheader is because without America there is no free world.
America, pro-America Canadians.
I feel like this is America trying, you got some Americans posing as Canadians here.
Oh, well, or we just have Canadian friends who are sick of the whole Trudeau experiment up there.
Yeah. Well, we're all tired of that.
Yeah. Basically, the headline here is no retreat, exclusive proof of voter fraud. Basically, what Crowder did, and if you don't know Crowder, Steven Crowder, he's a comedian / political commentator. He's pretty big. I'm sure most people listening know of him.
Yeah.
He went out and did the dirty work, so to speak. He got a bunch of the addresses and names of people that allegedly voted during the last elections, and he just checked. He went to verify if they are actual addresses or actual people, and he found a whole bunch of places that or just addresses that didn't exist in the just all over the country.
How did he get this?
I think voter registration stuff, some of it is public information.
You'd think I would. It seems like addresses of voters would be not public. That seems like a pretty, sensitive information to be available to anybody who wants to look at it.
Yeah. Well, regardless, it seems plus with the mail and stuff, maybe depending on the state you're in, it's a little bit different. But yeah, he went out, he sent a team to all these various locations, and they were finding the addresses that didn't exist under freeways and just like random places on the street. And they found one name of a person that voted allegedly who's in prison, another one that had to flee to another country. I mean, it's pretty bad, pretty obvious. So the point that he was trying to make wasn't that, because he is a Trump supporter. He's a shameless Trump supporter. His point wasn't that Trump won the election. His point was, here is verifiable evidence that there was some kind of voter fraud taking place with the elections.
Right.
And Twitter shut down the video and everything, banned him for the day. And he calls
For the day.
Yeah. He has
24-hour timeout.
Yeah. He basically has he calls him the half Asian lawyer. And his joke is that because he couldn't afford a Jewish one, and he's suing Twitter. And I think he has some good grounds to stand on to sue Twitter. And we'll see what happens. But there's this old adage at least in the crypto world. It's called "Don't trust, verify." And this is what he did in terms of the voter election or voter fraud thing. He didn't trust the different rumors that are out there or different. Even lawyers, some of the people out there that said they had proof of election fraud, he actually went out and verified it for himself, which I can commend that. The job of a true journalist, Yeah. And it's pretty clear that there's a lot of names and addresses that do not exist that counted as votes in the last elections. But of course, Twitter can't be sharing that.
I mean, the funny thing is that doesn't come as a surprise to anybody at this point.
It doesn't.
But which makes it even more hilarious that he got banned for it.
I know.
It's like, yeah, of course this happened, and just because he proved it doesn't mean. I mean, I guess that's just the world of censorship we're living in now.
Yeah, and I guess the document that Twitter sent Crowder, the reason for banning him was left blank. They didn't even tell him. They're like, because we don't know, just go away. You're banned.
That's
Time
funny.
Out. So,
well, I hope he pulls it off, suing Twitter.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
At least, he probably has the money to do it too. He's got a pretty big audience over there.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, he's in a whole nother atmosphere of internet economy.
Whole nother level. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, you want to check in with CNN, the bastion of truth?
Yeah, do it. Let's see what they're
pillar
saying.
of facts. First on CNN, Biden's COVID plan gets backing from more than 150 top business leaders. Okay, business leaders super into Biden's COVID plan. More than 150 senior executives from some of the largest American companies across several major industries have lined up behind President Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief package, according to a letter obtained by CNN. Of course they are, because every one of these coronavirus relief packages that comes out means billions of dollars going directly into corporate coffers.
Yeah,
but
not if the Federal Reserve wires are broken.
Yeah,
there's operational errors.
Yeah, ooh. The group of executives includes the top executives representing some of the powerful business interests in the U.S., ranging from bank and investment firms like Goldman Sachs and Blackstone to technology companies like Google, Intel, and IBM, to hospitality companies like Loews Hotels and Co., and airlines including American and United Airlines. That doesn't surprise me. Those airlines are basically government owned at this point.
Yeah.
Top executives from real estate, insurance, and utility firms also signed on to the letter. Quote, previous federal relief measures have been essential, but more must be done to put the country on a trajectory for a strong, durable recovery, the executives wrote in the letter addressed to bipartisan congressional leaders that will be sent Wednesday. Quote, Congress should act swiftly on a bipartisan basis to authorize a stimulus and relief package along the lines of the Biden-Harris administration's proposed American Rescue Plan. American Rescue! Give all the money to corporations. Biden, over the course of his first month in office, has relentlessly pressed lawmakers to pass his cornerstone legislative proposal, which includes funding for schools, vaccine distribution, and infrastructure, states and localities, direct payments, and extensions of expiring unemployment insurance programs. Interesting. He didn't mention the $1 trillion that goes directly to bail out corporations. CNN,
well,
you missed something on that list.
Yeah.
Oh, also the hundreds of billions that are sent off to foreign governments.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something like a couple hundred billion that gets sent off to foreign governments.
Yeah.
Okay, CNN, you missed a couple points there. The weight of the businesses getting behind the proposal provides a boost to Democrats as the House moves toward a final vote on the package later this week, with the Senate slated to follow suit shortly after. Blah, blah, blah. AT&T. What?
I'm just thinking about the Democrat reading that, being like, "Oh yeah, let's do it."
I know, so interesting, isn't it? What could it be like right now to be maybe a young Democrat who believed in change and that you were tired of the orange man helping out his corporate buddies and forgetting about the little guy. Oh, Daddy Joe, please come save us regular citizens. He's from Scranton, which means he loves the working man. And then,
he hasn't lived in Scranton since 1948 or something.
Yeah. Anyways, let's see here. Among these signed onto the letter are bold-faced names, okay, including David Solomon, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer at Goldman Sachs, Stephen Schwarzman, the Chairman and CEO of Blackstone, Sundar Pichai, CEO of Google, John Zimmer, the co-founder and president of Lyft, Brian Roberts, the Chairman and CEO of Comcast, and John Stankey. Oh, it's John Stankey. Yeah, the CEO of AT&T. And then, of course, because CNN is just so responsible, it has their own separate text line that says AT&T is the parent company of CNN.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, see, they got to connect themselves to it. We here at CNN support this, so you should too. Let's see here. One last couple things. With Republican support to this point, at least, has remained non-existent, with even moderate GOP senators amenable to talks calling Biden's proposal too large in scale and scope, given the trillions in emergency aid deployed over the first year of the pandemic. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell of Kentucky attacked the plan as totally partisan, and Republicans in the House and Senate appear unified in voting against the proposal. Aides in both chambers say. Oh, so they're getting this information from aides. Good job, aides. Biden, however, has been steadfast that this mandate is to go big, and in recent days has challenged opponents of the plan to outline specifically what they'd like to strip from the package. Quote, "Now critics say the plan is too big," Biden said at the White House on Monday. "Let me ask the rhetorical question. What would you have me cut? What would you have me leave out?" Oh, isn't that just beautiful? He's, let me just ask you this rhetorical question, which means I don't care what you say, and I'm not listening anyways. The letter from the business leader serves to bolster Democratic arguments about the size of the package. Yeah, because that's exactly what Black Lives Matter and Antifa and, young Democrats all wanted, was the support behind the corrupt corporate/government super machine that is the reality of the Democratic Party.
Yeah. So in other words,
Congratulations, you are being rescued. Please do not resist.
Yeah, exactly.
What if you don't accept the money? Can you do that? Or is it like
who?
Just people in general, the public. Once the money is sent out, can you be like,
well,
I'm good.
That's the interesting thing, man. Because if you have your bank account all connected with automatic, withdrawals, what is it called? Where you connect your bank account to the IRS, so you don't have to
Fedwire
write those. Oh, good point. I'm sure Fedwire is part of this process.
That could be the whole thing.
I was just gonna say
the whole digital dollar, getting it right into your app. Download the Fed app. Will send you the money, so it doesn't take a long time. It just boom.
Yeah,
right
we're
into
doing
your
it
wallet.
on the blockchain, baby.
Yeah, yay, blockchain.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what it is.
That sounds like a play for sure. Because, some people got it directly put into their accounts. Some people received the checks in the mail. I'm sure, you could just not cash the check and not consent to being an indentured tax slave.
I think we do that
yeah.
when you sign the when your parents sign, or at least if you're born in this country, a Social Security card.
Yeah,
or signed a number.
You know, there's a lot of people who have a lot of different ideas about what one can do, considering your parents are the ones who hand you over as a tax slave. But that's for a different show.
Yep.
But yeah, there you go. This is going to be very interesting. Oh, the party of the working man has full support from the most giant economic behemoths or tumors, I guess, of the American economy, which means don't worry, everything's going to be fine, folks.
It is interesting how in the right-left paradigm, they have really flipped, because when I was growing up, the Democrats were the working man arm of the political right-left. And now it's the other way. Republicans represent the middle class, the worker man. And now the Democrats are the big corps. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. Biden's plan moving forward. Not a surprise there. This is a real quick article from Breitbart. Big tech backflip. Facebook drops Australian news ban. Bows to government regulation. So I remember we reported a episode or two ago about Facebook banning some stuff, Australian news, or charging them at least to have it published on Facebook. And it says here, in an extraordinary backflip, Facebook announced Tuesday it will reverse its block on Australian users sharing news on its site and accept proposed government media bargaining laws that force it to pay for content. So I don't know if we don't have to rehash everything here, but
go through it a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
The capitulation came after Prime Minister Scott Morrison called Facebook, quote, arrogant, warning against, quote, big tech companies who think they are bigger than governments and that the rules should not apply to them. See, that's the thing. This whole tech versus government thing, a lot of people are looking at this as hey, it's a good thing. Sit down, big tech. But it's in the name of big government. It's like,
right.
Big government wins this round. Discussions.
Yeah, well, that's the funny thing about it. Yeah, it's like, I mean, we talk about this battle going on, but you don't want to root for anybody.
Right. This really reminds me of how everybody got on board with the Trump train during the 2016, where all of a sudden everybody was a Republican. It's like, what happened? we used to be cool, and now we're not. So there you go. Quote, Mark Zuckerberg said to me today.
So are they going to be paying? Are they paying the news people?
Well, let's see. I don't think they are. Hold on. Discussions between Treasurer Josh Frydenberg and Facebook boss Mark Zuckerberg have now delivered a result in the government's favor and stemmed the fierce public backlash against the media giant. Quote, Mark Zuckerberg said to me today, restoring pages will occur in the coming days. He added that Australia had been a proxy battle for the rest of the world on a regulation of Google and Facebook. Yay, good. Thank you, Australian government, for fighting on the behalf of all other big governments around the world.
Right.
I have no doubt that so many other countries are looking at what is happening here in Australia because of this innovative code the Morrison government is now pursuing. So Facebook and Google have not hidden the fact that they know that the eyes of the world are on Australia and that it is why they have sought to get a code here that is workable, he said. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. Probably not. I think they're backing off on all the charging
Sounds
stuff.
like they're still figuring out, what the details are.
Yeah. But in general, Facebook backs off. And so, what this is going to do is, Mark Zuckerberg's just going to go back to his drawing board there and come up with a better way to infiltrate governments or become government.
Yeah.
So, it's always people are saying it as a victory, but at the same time, you got to look at it objectively. It's kind of just a small setback.
I wonder if he's got plans to buy some property in Nevada and start Facebook Town.
Oh, great. Yeah, we should pop up the Canary Cry commune right next to Facebook Town. And it'll just be perpetual joy on our side, and then as soon as you step in over there, the cameras fall on you and you're one big Zuck burger.
All right, moving on. Getting back, I just love reading the stories about what Biden's doing and just imagining all those Democrats who thought that things were going to be different after Orange Man was gone. And this was an article that was floating around quite a bit, a lot of attention on this article, but I just could not resist. This is from the Washington Post. The Washington Post.
Oh, you're doing that one first. Okay.
What?
The Washington Post article gave me a paywall, so that's why I didn't use it.
Oh no, I got it up here. I'm just gonna give some basic things, and then we've got a video that we can look at some stuff.
Hairy legs. Got hairy legs.
WashingtonPost.com. First migrant facility for children opens under Biden.
Sniff, sniff.
Oh, migrant facility for children. Is this kids in cages? Dozens of migrant teens boarded vans Monday for the trip down a dusty road to a former man camp for oil field workers there. The first migrant child facility opened under the Biden administration. The emergency facility, a vestige of the Trump administration that was open for only a month in summer 2019, is being reactivated to hold up to 700 children ages 13 to 17.
What?
Government, yeah. So, yeah, we'll go through a review of this entire story. And then, of course, we're going to check in with Jennifer Psaki because, she's got stuff to say about it. Government officials say the camp is needed because facilities for migrant children have had to cut capacity by nearly half because of the coronavirus pandemic. At the same time, the number of unaccompanied children crossing the border has been inching up, with January reporting the highest total, more than 57,000 apprehensions for that month in recent years. But immigration lawyers and advocates question why the Biden administration would choose to reopen a Trump-era facility that was the source of protests and controversy. From the, quote, tent city in Tornillo, Texas, to a sprawling for-profit facility in Homestead, Florida, emergency shelters have been criticized by advocates for immigrants, lawyers, and human rights activists over their conditions, costs, and lack of transparency in their operations. Quote, it's unnecessary, it's costly, and it goes absolutely against everything President Biden promised he was going to do, said Linda Brandmiller, a San Antonio-based immigration lawyer who represents unaccompanied minors. Quote, it's a step backward, is what it is. It's a huge step backward. During the campaign, Biden pledged to undo former President Donald Trump's hardline immigration policies. In his first month in office, Biden signed several executive orders reversing many of those policies. Last week, he and House Democrats introduced a plan that would provide a path to citizenship for 11 million undocumented immigrants. The administration also reversed some of Trump's expulsion practices by accepting unaccompanied children into the country, a change that also is contributing to an increase of minors in government facilities, officials said. Mark Weber, a spokesman for the Department of Health and Human Services, the agency that oversees services for migrant children, said the Biden administration is moving away from the law enforcement-focused approach of Trump administration to one in which child welfare is more centric. Yeah, so instead of, sending children back to be with their families, we keep them and we put them in these camps. At the 66...
You know what else? Ooh, 66. You know what else they do?
At the 66-acre site.
They take the children
and melt those babies into candles.
You're just looking for a reason to play that jingle now.
I've been waiting. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, get your bell ready because at the 66-acre site.
Oh.
Yeah. Groups of beige trailers encircle a giant white dining tent, a soccer field, and a basketball court. There is a bright blue hospital tent with white bunks beds inside. A legal services trailer has the Spanish word bienvenidos, or welcome, on a banner on its roof. There are trailers for classrooms, a barbershop, a hair salon. The facility has its own ambulances and fire trucks, as well as its own water supply. The operation is based on a federal emergency management system. Federal Emergency Management System. FEMA, from Federal Emergency Management Administration. So this is a FEMA camp. Weber said the trailers are labeled with names such. What?
I was just going to say, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, pretty straightforward. With names such as Alpha Charlie Echo. Staff members are wearing matching black, but yada, yada, yada. We don't care what color their shirts are. Yeah, there you go. That's the base. They give a bunch of numbers for it. And but the fun part is the legacy of children in cages. And I read a couple response articles to this, and people really are calling out Washington Post. Because Washington Post was one of the leading purveyors of children in cages. Ripped, headlines that literally say, Trump rips children from their parents' arms and puts them in cages. And then, of course, when Biden does it, it's migrant facilities for children. And they got a lot of backfire for this, which I'm happy to see that, they're not just being let off the hook. But there is back and forth about this whole thing because the original children in cages was an Obama era construction.
Right.
Trump just used what Obama started.
Yeah.
And then Trump started doing it and got in trouble. And then Trump opened up this one. You'll notice that the amenities of this sound better than kids in cages. There's basketball courts, there's bunk beds, there's a barber shop, there's ambulances. It's a little community here.
Yeah.
There's classrooms. So Obama built the cages. Trump built this, arguably a better situation. There's no barber shop in the cages, but so Trump built this little city, this nice little immigrant storage facility, but with more amenities. And then it got shut down immediately because he was in the throes of kids in cages. So they didn't let this one get into full swing. And then Biden comes along and uses Trump's construction to continue caging children. So the flip-floppy irony of this whole thing is just too delicious to pass up. But as we'll see in a clip or a few clips that we'll play here, reporters at the White House press briefings they're not letting it go. They've got a lot of questions about Biden's kids in cages.
Yep, this is Yahoo News, and the video was provided by Reuters. This is not kids being kept in cages, says Psaki.
But it's the same facility that was open for a month in the Trump administration, summer 2019. That is when Joe Biden said, under Trump, there have been horrifying scenes at the border of kids being kept in cages. And Kamala Harris said, basically, babies in cages is a human rights abuse being committed by the United States government. So how is this any different than that?
We very much feel that way.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you missed it, this guy is saying, you said putting kids in these facilities was a human rights abuse, and now you're doing it. What do you have to say? Oh, yeah, it's still human rights abuses. We are
we very much feel that way.
We are very much actively committing human rights abuses. No worries.
But politic.
These are facilities. Let me be clear here. One, there's a pandemic going on. I'm sure you're not suggesting that we have children right next to each other.
Notice how she gets all defensive.
Hold on.
The classic Jennifer Psaki defensiveness.
She's got
she
her
can't
pen.
just answer a question.
She's pointing a pen at him. It's really annoying that they use the pandemic as an excuse here as well, especially with children, because there's like no kids dying from. Anyway, all right. Mm-hmm. Let me continue here.
That are not COVID safe, are you?
I'm suggesting that Kamala Harris.
Are you?
Are you,
reporter?
You're not suggesting.
Are you saying we want to purposefully kill children with COVID? Are you saying that, reporter?
Oh no, I lost the link, the page. Hold on, let me get back to it.
Okay.
How did that happen? This is not
She's
a good website.
She's such a child. It's crazy.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see. I was around. Okay, here we go.
border of kids being kept in cages. And Kamala Harris said, basically, babies in cages is a human rights abuse being committed by the United States government. So how is this any different than that?
We very much feel that way. These are facilities. Let me be clear here. One, there's a pandemic going on. I'm sure you're not suggesting that we have children right next to each other in ways that are not COVID safe, are you?
I'm suggesting that Kamala Harris said that this facility, putting people in this facility, was a human rights abuse committed by the United States government. And Joe Biden said, under Trump, there have been horrifying scenes of at the border of kids being kept in cages. Now it's not under Trump; it's under Biden.
This is not kids being kept in cages. This is kids. This is a facility that was opened that's going to follow the same standards as other HHS facilities. It is not a replication. Certainly not. Though that is never our intention of replicating the immigration policies of the past administration.
It's not a replication. You're right, because you didn't replicate it. You just opened the one that he used. Trump built it, and you're using it.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
That is some, I wish we had like the Matrix when he dodges all the bullets. That's
really
what she just did right there.
Just gives a whole new meaning to Jennifer Psaki circling back. Like, she's basically circling back without saying the words circle back.
But we are in a circumstance where we are not going to expel unaccompanied minors at the border. That would be inhumane. That is not what we are going to do here as an administration.
Wait, so it's not humane to release them into the wild, but it is humane to cage them?
If Trump keeps kids in cages, then it's inhumane. If Biden keeps kids in cages, it's just
it's humane.
Democracy.
It's humane.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to do, but also we can't have them next to each other because the pandemic, right?
We need to find places that are safe under COVID protocols for kids to be, where they can have access to education, health and mental services consistent with their best interests. Our goal is for them to then be transferred to families or sponsors. So this is our effort to ensure that kids are not in close proximity and that we're abiding by the health and safety standards that the government has been set out.
And isn't that a beautiful portrait of COVID, the time of COVID and Biden's response to COVID? We're much better than Trump. We're better than everyone else. We have more of a heart. But because of the pandemic, we get to do the exact same things as those we claim don't have a heart. It's the same, don't look at what I'm doing. Don't do as I say, or don't do as I do. Don't look at what I do. Just listen to what I say. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. But it's just a beautiful wake up call for everybody who voted for Biden.
Yeah, there's a clip from a secret Biden meeting with his staff. There's some footage or some audio.
From the ashes of their woes, we'll build a better one.
That was Biden.
That's right. Yeah. Thanks, Biden. That was when his mask was glitching. So there you go. This was just a wonderful moment in the new administration. And of course, Jennifer Psaki continues to flounder on the stage. You can tell she's trying to be more hard-nosed. She's trying to pull a Kayleigh McEnany and be very stern with the reporters. And if you're just listening and you didn't watch the video, where Kayleigh McEnany would glance at a binder and somehow wouldn't have to read straight from it. Jennifer Psaki, she is reading straight from a page while she is saying all this stuff. And it doesn't sound like something that's written well. I don't know. It's just a weird situation. I'm losing my composure when trying to describe Jennifer Psaki.
Yeah. What do you got against redheads? Is this a redhead thing?
No, that would be racist, Gons.
Oh, it's race. I thought it was colorist. Okay.
No, I think technically redheads counts as racism.
Oh yeah, especially because before the enslavement of African Americans, didn't they have?
Yes, it's the Irish who were enslaved. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's all I got for politics.
All right. There's a good chunk there. Well, let's get into some Waccine stuff.
Waccine.
A pandemic special.
This first one here from Yahoo News. New York Times was carrying it. This 105-year-old beat COVID. She credits gin-soaked raisins.
Oh.
Yeah. Ask
okay.
Lucia DeClerc how she has lived to be 105 years old. And she's quick with an answer. Quote, prayer, 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 she offers. One step at a time. No junk food. But surviving the coronavirus, she said, also may have had something to do with another staple. The 9 gin-soaked golden raisins she had eaten each morning for most of her life.
9?
Yeah, like the...
That's very specific.
Yeah, like the
sounds like she
NIAID.
starts her morning off with a little buzz every morning.
Little buzz. And, maybe an homage to the 9 gods of the NIAID.
Oh,
quote,
my gosh.
Fill a jar, she explained. 9 raisins a day after it sits for 9 days.
Oh.
Her children and grandchildren recall the ritual as just one of DeClerc's endearing lifelong habits, like drinking aloe juice straight from the container and brushing her teeth with baking soda. That worked too. She did not have a cavity until she was 99, relatives say. And maybe it's because they pump all that fluoride into the stuff now. Quote, we would just think, Grandma, what are you doing? You're crazy, said her 53-year-old granddaughter, Sean Laws O'Neill of Los Angeles. Quote, now the laugh is on us. She has beaten everything that's come her way. It's a long list, but born in 1916 in Hawaii to parents who came from Guatemala and Spain. She lived through the Spanish flu, 2 world wars, and the deaths of 3 husbands and a son. She just won't go down.
Wow.
And I think it said that she got the vaccine too. Yeah.
She survived the vaccine?
she
really is immortal.
She got the virus, she survived that, and she got the vaccine. But it's not the vaccine that saved her, it's the
gin-soaked
raisins. And here's what she says, quote, now all of us are rushing out and getting mason jars and yellow raisins and trying to catch up, said her granddaughter.
Wow.
So, yep.
Okay, well, we solved the problem. Turns out it's not mRNA vaccines. It's not hydroxychloroquine. It's gin and raisins.
Yeah, it's really fascinating that they would highlight this as kind of I don't know, just a way to signal that maybe it's the end of the pandemic publicly. Just on one hand, it's the end, quote unquote. Even though it's not.
What is the source here? Oh, it's Yahoo.
Yeah, it's Yahoo. Although
what's the mirror? Is it mirrored?
It's mirrored from New York Times, I think.
Oh, that's even stranger.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think this is kind of like a, hey, don't worry. Look at this 105-year-old.
For New York Times to be downplaying the vaccine signals an interesting turn of events.
Yeah. So that's
holy moly, 117th birthday. Oh, okay. I'm looking at something else here.
Yeah, it says 105.
Wow.
But,
Wait, is this the... Yeah, whoa. Further down, it talks about the story of Europe's oldest known resident, Sister Andre, contracted the virus at 116. She celebrated with a glass of champagne on her 117th birthday earlier this month at a nursing home in Toulon, a city in southeastern France. Wow. There really are some immortals surviving coronavirus, surviving the vaccine. That's incredible.
Yeah, but
all right.
It's interesting how we didn't have any stories highlighting any survivors of the pandemic during the Trump era, especially. But now we can highlight the 105-year-olds that are beating it with gin-soaked raisins. Just a very strange thing.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I got another story, little vax story here. This is coming from India Times, economictimes.indiatimes.com. And the headline reads, WHO, the World Health Organization, agrees compensation fund for serious COVAX vaccine side effects. Okay, the World Health Organization has agreed a no-fault compensation plan for claims of serious side effects in people in 92 poorer countries due to get COVID-19 vaccines via the COVAX sharing scheme, resolving a big concern among recipient governments. Oh, see, you had all these developing nations saying, so COVAX is that, I think, what is it, the United Nations program that wants to focus on shipping vaccines to developing nations. Mm-hmm. But these developing nations didn't want it. They were rejecting it. Yeah. Nobody wanted it.
Yeah.
And so they had to come out with this compensation plan. The program, which the WHO said was the first and only vaccine injury compensation mechanism operating on an international scale, will offer eligible people a, quote, fast, fair, robust, and transparent process. The WHO said in a statement, quote, by providing a no-fault lump sum compensation in full and final settlement of any claims, the COVAX program aims to significantly reduce the need for recourse to the law courts, a potentially lengthy and costly process, the statement said. Questions of how compensation claims would be handled in the event of any serious COVID-19 vaccine side effects, which are likely to be very rare, had been a worry for countries due to get COVID-19 shots via the COVAX plan. Countries funding their own COVID-19 vaccine procurement also plan their own liability programs. The WHO agreed plan, which has been under discussion for several months, is designed to cover serious side effects linked to any COVAX distributed vaccines until June 30th, 2022. To COVAX's advanced market commitment eligible economies, a group of 92 poorer states, which includes most African and Southeast Asian countries. The program will be financed initially from donor funding to the AMC as an extra charge on all doses of COVID-19 vaccines distributed through the COVAX. Wow. Applications can be made via a portal, covaxclaims.com, from March 31st, 2021. The WHO said Seth Berkley, chief executive of the Gavi Vaccine Alliance, that's Gates's operation there, which co-leads COVAX, said the government on the compensation fund was a massive boost for COVAX, which aims to secure equitable global access to COVID-19 vaccines. Quote, it helps those in countries who might have such effects, manufacturers to roll out vaccines to countries faster, blah, 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 blah. So there you go. The 92 developing countries did not want the Gates-sponsored COVID vaccine delivery unless they had some financial compensation.
Does that mean that even the developed countries would have that option if the public just said, hey, no, remember the story that came out like, oh, the vaccine companies, they can't be sued. If enough people came up and said, hey, then we're not going to take it, we could have done something about it. Look at they changed at least, on paper. They're like, hey, yeah, we will give you a
that's that is an interesting angle. Of course, the U.S. has its own vaccine compensation program,
right?
Which is pitiful.
VAERS or what is it called?
VAERS or something. Yeah. I forget what the acronym stands for.
I can have it here.
But it's basically this. But yeah, that would have been an interesting angle for anti-vaxxers. Like, oh, okay, you want to force us to get the vaccine? Well, we're not going to do it unless you increase the compensation. And this lump sum vaccine thing is a good way. They say that it's to keep the courts clear and to not, clog up the legal system, which is hilarious because they don't want to clog up the legal system, although they're saying, oh, this is so rare, it's not going to be a big deal. But they obviously think that they can clog up an entire country's legal system with these lump sum cases. Yeah. But yeah, there you go. You can't get these poor countries to take the vaccine unless you have this compensation program.
Well, it's at least a step in the right direction, but also groups like Gavi are so desperate to get the vaccine to these countries They're like, all right, yeah, we'll sign this paper. Will that make it okay for you guys?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's still kind of
It's funny. It doesn't actually mention who the recipients of the compensation are. I mean, you assume it would be the actual person.
The individuals or their families.
The individual, right. But there's some wording in there that made me wonder, like, oh, does the actual government of the poor country get the compensation?
Well, that would make more sense in terms of accepting it. It's like, oh, yeah, give us the money and then we'll distribute it to the people.
Well, right. Which basically turns it into a weird ritual. Like, yes, harm our citizens and give the government money for it.
Yeah. Well, that's not a
Which
surprise.
I guess we see that happen all the time, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I am wondering when the pandemic is going to end. TheAtlantic.com, a simple rule of thumb for knowing when the pandemic is over. At some point, maybe soon enough, or maybe even soon, the emergency phase of the pandemic will end. But what exactly is that magic threshold? It's magic, Basil. It's magic.
Oh, magic threshold. Okay.
Yeah, they cite numbers, blah, 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 about, the numbers that have fallen in the United States. And then they say the problem is that the, quote, end of the pandemic means different things in different contexts. The World Health Organization first declared a public health emergency of international concern on January 30th, 2020, holding off on labeling it a pandemic until March 11th. The imposition and rescinding of these labels is a judgment made by WHO leadership, and one that can reflect murky tactical considerations. Regardless of what the WHO decides and when, national governments and individual states within the U.S. have to make their own determinations about when and how to reopen their schools and loosen their restrictions on businesses. I reached out to prominent public health experts to find out which epidemiological criteria ought to be met before these kinds of steps are taken, which is kind of ridiculous because there are places around the world, not just in the U.S., who have already opened up their businesses, opened up schools, and they're fine. You know, I mean, they're okay. It's like places like Los Angeles where they're like, no, what about the school children? They can pass the virus. Whereas, in Florida, I think they've been in school since the fall. It says here the most obvious interpretation of, quote, beating COVID-19 would be that transmission of the coronavirus has stopped, a scenario some public health experts have hashtagged zero COVID. But the experts I spoke with all agreed that this won't happen in the U.S. in the foreseeable future. Quote, this would require very high levels of vaccination coverage, said Celine Gounder, an infectious disease specialist at NYU who served on Joe Biden's coronavirus task force during the transition. The U.S. may never reach vaccination rates of 75 to 85%, the experts said. We got to flatten the curve, Basil.
Oh.
Can't lock it all or open it back up until we flatten the curve. And then at the end here, it says the large number of Americans who've already been infected will also be crucial for reaching transmission slowing levels of immunity. The CDC estimates that more than 83 million Americans have been infected with COVID-19, far more than the official confirmed case of 28 million. 44 million Americans have received at least one dose of a vaccine, even assuming some overlap between the previously infected and the vaccinated. Perhaps 100 to 120 million Americans have some level of immunity. That's roughly 1/3 of the population. Which sounds good to me. Let's open it back up. 1/3 of the population. I mean, assuming these things are true, it's
right. Well, yeah.
Even given their own numbers,
that's the buy-in you need.
Yeah. It could take months for the size of this group to reach a point where the numbers of COVID-19 deaths a day falls below 100. Until then, we'll be confronted with a different sort of risk. That for some, the pandemic feels like it's over long before it actually is. Just as the country has never taken a unified approach to battling COVID-19, we may very well end up without a unified approach to deciding when it ends. That's why public health experts are desperately arguing Americans to hold firm, even as the pandemic seems to be receding. Quote, we're lifting mitigation measures too soon, warned Gounder, the infectious disease specialist at NYU. Quote, we're taking our foot off the brake before putting the car into park. Jeez. If enough people ignore the message and decide the pandemic is over for them, it may very well put off the moment when we can say that the pandemic is over for everyone. So, of course, the warning is don't think it's over. But okay, this whole thing of like having the number of deaths per day fall under 100. What was the number of deaths per day for like the normal influenza? Had to have been pretty high.
I don't have that number right on me, but what was it? It was around 40,000 a year.
Yeah, so let's say 40,000 divided by 365. That's 109. So yeah, I mean, just crunching numbers here, but that's okay. All right. Does it have to fall under 100 to make it a thing?
Wait, 109
per day
times
109 times 365 is just under 40,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. And that year that we had almost 80,000 die from influenza, I mean, that's like over 200.
Yeah,
so.
Double that. Yeah, 200 a day.
I mean, basically the Atlantic is saying it's never going to end.
Yeah, that is kind of a long-winded way for them to say, don't even
if it's
think
over,
about it,
like
folks.
even when all the evidence shows that it's over, it's not over. It's not over, folks.
It's never over.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that's one of the things that when this first started, I mean, I remember it being back in April of last year. We were already talking about how this was never going to go away.
Yeah.
It's not always fun being right about everything, but, that was the case.
Yeah. At a certain point, I think the people just have to rebel. They just have to start opening it back up and doing their thing.
Well, and I mean, that's the thing. We're just going to, if indeed it is a real thing that sticks around forever, it's just, it's just going to be another... Life will go on.
I really do think that for the majority of the world and even the majority of the country, it is people are moving on.
Mm-hmm.
It's only the media and like Los Angeles and a few of these strongholds that are like, oh, we're all going to die. And they're still kind of peddling the narrative. I really think that a lot more people around the country are just like, hey, forget this, man. Come on, let's just get on with it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's that. Let me do this one, and then I'll let you do the next one here. The UK says a single shot of Pfizer and BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine reduces the risk of infection by 70%. The first real-world UK data suggests. So I'll just read the bullet points here. One shot of Pfizer and BioNTech vaccine reduces the risk of coronavirus infection by 70%. In a UK study, the vaccine's effectiveness increased to 85% in those who got 2 shots, the study found. The data suggested the vaccine worked against B.1.1.7 variant first found in the UK, even though that's not the narrative in America.
Right.
So, yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, that's weird. Why would it be different numbers in the UK?
I don't know.
In the US, the effectiveness is supposed to be, the first shot is like 90% or something? 85.
I don't know.
And then the second was supposed to bring you up to 94 or something like that. But I guess the UK, it's the same vaccines, the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Okay, must be the air. Must be the weather makes the vaccine less effective in the UK for some reason.
Well, it's interesting because they talk about how the variant is covered by this vaccine, but of course, the headline in LA, the LA Times article, California's coronavirus strain looks increasingly dangerous. The devil is already here. That's in the headline.
Is that in the headline?
That's in the headline.
Oh my gosh. Mind control, folks.
Mind control intensifies.
It intensifies.
All right. Well, speaking of the mind control here,
okay.
This is 11alive.com. Headline reads, CDC report on COVID vaccine. Fewer than 7,000 people of 14 million vaccinated people had side effects. Most mild, they say. Okay. This researchers in Atlanta and around the world continue to work around the clock, aggressively looking for evidence of any bad side effects from the COVID vaccines, short-term or long-term. The latest evidence available, released on Friday, comes from right here in Atlanta from the CDC. It's a study of millions of people in the U.S. who actually got the vaccines. Weird way to put that.
Are you saying that some people didn't actually get it that got hit with the jab?
That's
what are you implying?
They're insinuating that, some people who quote unquote got the vaccine didn't actually get. It's a study of the millions of people in the U.S. who actually got the vaccines from mid-December when the vaccines became available to mid-January. The CDC report showed that of the nearly 14 million people in the U.S. who were vaccinated during that period, fewer than 7,000 of them, about 1 in every 2,000 people vaccinated, experienced any side effects at all. Let's just click on this CDC report thing here. Okay, so it does take us to cdc.gov. Oh, and there's a lot of text. You might scan through that, but most of the side effects, 90.8% of them, were minor and expected. Those side effects included achiness, fatigue that went away in a day or two. This doesn't seem right, Gons, because, Bill Gates himself said that you were going to have side effects, just simple side effects like extreme pain. And I don't think I've heard of anyone getting the vaccine and not having the side effects. Maybe not, death or the palsy that people are getting or with stuff like that. But I've yet to hear a single person or even read about a single person who said that they got the vaccine and nothing happened. So I don't know. Seems like some magic math to me here. Because most of the side effects, 90.8% of them, were minor and expected. Those side effects included achiness and fatigue that went away in a day or two. So they're talking about the simplest possible side effects. 90% of the 7,000 people got them. So, 63 or something, 6,300 people had achiness and fatigue. This doesn't sound correct to me. Anyways, of all those with side effects, 640 people, or 9.2%, experienced serious side effects, and 113 of the people with serious side effects died. 2/3 of those who died were residents of long-term care facilities. Yeah. The CDC report said it was investigating every one of the deaths and that there was no evidence so far that any of the deaths were caused by the vaccines. Didn't they just say that it was caused by the vaccines? Of all those with side effects, 640 experienced serious side effects, and 113 of the people with serious side effects died. The CDC report said it was investigating every one of the deaths and that there is no evidence so far that any of the deaths were caused by the vaccines. This is erroneous. Rather, the evidence gathered by the CDC shows they were caused by underlying medical conditions unrelated to the vaccines. Oh, I love this. They are counting the deaths from the vaccine in the opposite manner of how they count deaths by COVID. Deaths by COVID, you have an underlying cause, COVID death.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Death by vaccine, underlying cause, nope, didn't die from the vaccine. Yeah. This is bizarre.
No, I'm looking at the CDC article now. I'm looking through the death report, and they talk about the VAERS report. The VAERS received 113 reports of death after COVID-19 vaccinations. 2/3 of these deaths occurred among LTCF residents. All-cause mortality is high in LTCF populations because underlying medical conditions are common based on expected rates of background mortality among the approximately 1 million LTCF residents vaccinated in the first month of the U.S. COVID-19 vaccination program. Approximately 7,000 coincidental, temporarily associated deaths from all causes would be expected during the analytic period. So so they're saying basically that they're expecting about 7,000 deaths in general from the LTCF. So, yeah, what's 113 from after the vaccine? In contrast, VAERS received 78 reports of death after COVID-19 vaccination in LTCF residents, and approximately one half were in residents who were in hospice or who had a do not resuscitate status. Reported causes of death in LTCF residents after COVID-19 vaccinations are consistent with expected all-cause mortality in this population. Among deaths in persons with available death certificate and autopsy information who were not LTCF residents, causes of death were consistent with background all-causes mortality and did not indicate any unexpected pattern that might suggest a casual relationship with vaccination. Okay. This is very sneaky. Sneaky.
Yeah, the problem is you can just take what they tell you and just believe it and ignore everything that you actually see and what people say and the coincidences of people dying almost immediately after getting the vaccine. Or you can actually open your eyes and look and see what's happening and realize that even just reading this article about the study, I mean, the report is similar in a way, but, once you start getting these articles that are twice or three times removed from the original source material, it just feels like you're being lied to.
Yeah.
It's like just the wording and the acrobatics,
it's never straightforward. It's always
mathrobatics.
Yeah, it's always a little hanky-panky jumping around.
Yeah.
Keep reading that quote, by the way, that section that you were reading, and the quote from the Richard Rothenberg, MD.
Yeah, so, quote, they've not been able to associate deaths with COVID vaccine per se. Okay. That's when you can't really trust what's coming out of this guy's mouth. They've not been able to associate deaths with, and notice the word associate too.
Right.
Is such a vague term.
Yeah.
If someone dies 2 hours after getting the vaccine, which has happened, you could say that is associated.
Yeah.
That's about the vaguest possible connection. But to say they've not been able to associate deaths with COVID vaccine, I don't know who they are, but I don't trust their associations if they're not able to associate.
I know who they are.
They are scum.
Oh, got him. And then, this is from Richard Rothenberg, MD, MPH, a Regents professor with the School of Public Health at Georgia State University. And then, I don't know, we could keep going into it. It's all the same stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, he keeps talking about somehow people think perhaps zero risk is achievable, but I can't think of anything that has zero risk. So he's saying, out of all these deaths, not one of them is associated with the COVID vaccine. And then at the same time comes out and says, well, there can't be zero risk. I mean, I just said that I believe that there's zero risk of dying because nobody has ever had an associated death. But also, you can't have zero risk. It's like, well, which is it, Rothenberg? Make up your mind.
This quote, too, I like how they quoted him here. Quote, if you look at the potential side effects of virtually anything we take, ... it doesn't mean that the drug is dangerous. That is the weird end quote. That's the quote.
I know.
I feel like they omitted a lot in the ...
Yes, the ellipse. The ellipses hide the truth.
It's just ridiculous. Anyway, so there you go. CDC, nobody died from the vaccine, apparently.
Yeah.
According to the CDC.
Nobody did.
Nobody will.
But anyways, governments around the world wouldn't let us give them the vaccine for unless we had a compensation plan set up.
I know. That's the thing.
It's like Make up your mind.
Yeah, there
Which
is no
is
consistency. Yeah, for sure.
It's
Okay,
wild.
so one more quick one, and then I have a little rant before we take a break here.
It's Newsome science, baby! Ha!
Oh, what happened to my Newsom article?
Oh no.
Give me my Newsom article. Hold on one sec. Let me paste it in here. Yahoo News. Got a lot of Yahoo stories today. California lawmakers approved giving $600 stimulus payments to 5.7 million people in the state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all right. Newsom getting some stuff done. Let's see what
this is Newsom trying to wriggle out of his recall.
Oh, yeah, but it gets better. Lawmakers in California have approved a bill that will give 5.7 million people in the state a $600 stimulus check. The checks are part of a $7.6 billion coronavirus relief package that Gavin Newsom signed into law on Tuesday. Fewer people will receive the state-ordered checks than those who received federal stimulus checks last year, but the payments will target two specific economic groups. So the federal government was able to give out more in stimulus than because 5.7 million, there's 40 million people in California.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like 1/6 of California gets the money here, and $600 is nothing in California. You can go through that that's like 1/10 of rent for some people.
Yeah, I mean, Newsom spent more than $600 at the French Laundry.
He did. That's half a meal.
That was half of his meal when he was locking down the state.
Okay, so who gets this? The first group is people who are eligible for the California Earned Income Tax Credit on their tax return, which in general covers people who earn $30,000 a year or less.
Now, this is crazy because there is definitely more than 5.7 million who earn less than $30,000 a year in California.
Yes, that is true. And also $30,000 a year in California is pretty low. That's like you're okay. Well, it depends what area.
Yeah,
what area matters.
If you're in the Central Valley or Northern California, you can. It's not great. Not great. You're not going to be as comfortable.
Yeah.
But no, 30 grand in LA. You've got 5 roommates in a studio apartment and are dumpster diving you're dumpster diving at Whole Foods.
The second group is people who earn $75,000 or less after deductions and use an individual taxpayer identification number to file their taxes, which includes people who don't have social security numbers and some undocumented immigrants.
Oh, interesting.
So if you're undocumented, you make less than $75K.
Well, if you're including people who make $75,000 or less in California, that is enormously larger number than 5.7 million people.
Know.
What is there, a lottery? Who do they decide who actually gets it?
I don't know. The whole thing is just, it does feel like Newsom trying to save face here.
Yeah.
And scrapping together money to hand out to people because, they don't really know how they're going to do this. And Newsom, when asked about what's the math, what kind of logic is he using?
It's Newsome science, baby! Ha!
Speaking of various California news, did you hear about Tiger Woods?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Got in a little car crash. Can that guy go a couple years without some sort of disaster?
I don't know, but
it's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. Although, do you think this is Illuminati trying to take out somebody?
I read an interesting story where it was one of the crew members on the show Grown-ish.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the director of Grown-ish came into set that day and said, "I almost got hit by Tiger Woods." I guess Tiger Woods almost crashed into him, but then later had his own little crash.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just a weird situation.
Yeah, guy can't catch a break for sure. And there's he didn't do himself any favors with the lifestyle and all that, but
I guess his legs are all messed up. So
yeah, well, it looks like he's going to survive, Tiger, from what I heard.
Take it easy, buddy.
You know, it was weird because it was reported that they used the jaws of life to get him out of the car. And then there was another report that said, no, we didn't use the jaws of life.
Yeah, I saw a picture.
I mean, the car was pretty mangled.
Maybe I saw the wrong picture then, because the picture I saw did not look very serious at all.
Oh, okay. Well,
let me look it up. All right. What else you got?
Okay, so I got a little rant to go on here, and this has to do with the title of the episode, Dirty Waccine Powerplay. And has to do with how the government is making money from the vaccines. And this is the kind of stuff that gets us banned, Basil.
Okay.
Waccine. Waccine.
So I was digging through some stuff, and there's been some claims about Fauci benefiting from the vaccines itself, and there were headlines. USA Today had a headline like, "No, Fauci, Bill Gates, and George Soros and Epstein, they're not." They even included Epstein's name in there, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
They're not going to get any benefit from the vaccine, not at all. But again, did some digging on my own, and who am I? I'm just a grumpy guy on the internet. And the first thing I found was that the NIH, the National Institute of Health, and specifically NIAID, NIAID, they supported the research, the mRNA vaccine research for Moderna. So, and this is, I know some people have already kind of summarized this type of stuff, but I think it's important to point out here. It says here on this document from the NIAID.nih.gov news briefing, a presser here. And this is the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. This is run by Fauci. Fauci runs this program.
Right.
And so March 16th, 2020, it says here the vaccine called mRNA 1273 was developed by NIAID scientists and their collaboration at the biotechnology company Moderna, Inc., based in Cambridge, Massachusetts. The Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovation supported the manufacturing of the vaccine candidate for phase 1 clinical trial. So we're going back a year here, but proof on their own website saying that they helped develop this vaccine, this mRNA vaccine, with Moderna, the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, which is run by Fauci. So there you go. 1 point of connection there. And again, it says scientists at NIAID Vaccine Research Center and Moderna were able to quickly develop mRNA 1273 because of prior studies of related coronaviruses that cause severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS, and Middle East respiratory syndrome, MERS. The VRC and Moderna scientists already were working on an investigational MERS vaccine targeting the spike, which provided a head start for developing a vaccine candidate to protect against COVID-19. Isn't that convenient? They were already working on it, Basil.
Yeah.
So there's that piece of factoid. And then in a document here, just more, and I think this is the, hold on. This is, I think, where it has the grant. Yes. So this is a document that is titled SARS-CoV-2 mRNA Vaccine Development Enabled by Prototype Pathogen Preparedness. And this is on biorxiv.org. And it was published on June 11th of 2020. And in this, it just has, who holds the patents and who was able to do all the research. It's a really boring, long document here. But it says in the document on line 203, and I'll read the whole sentence here. This work was supported by the Intramural Research Program of the VRC and the Division of Intramural Research NIAID, NIH, BSG, and NIH NIAID grant R01-AL127521. So there's a grant number, which means the NIH and NIAID had helped fund this research, which we just showed that they did for sure with Moderna. So this is more proof that they actually gave money to Moderna. But why would they give money to research this stuff? Well, it's to get patents on the technology. And this is a letter that was sent from NIAID or the NIH to Axios, because Axios was starting to dig into some of these claims and trying to debunk it. And it's funny because their conclusions are a little different from what I'm going to come to here. And this is directly from their sources here. NIAID scientists, and this is NIAID speaking to Axios, a statement to Axios. Quote, NIAID scientists created stabilized coronavirus spike proteins for the development of vaccines against coronaviruses, including SARS-CoV-2. Recognizing the importance of these novel immunogens, NIAID has sought patents to preserve the government's rights, plural, to those inventions and to provide incentive for commercial partners to invest the capital and resources needed to advance their developments, commercialization, and public use as vaccines. It's kind of like a smoking gun that NIAID...
Yeah, wait a second. So is this saying that the government patented the vaccine?
Yes.
And then paid?
Yes.
Walk me through this. Walk me through this.
Yes. So
I'm starting to understand.
NIAID funded research to get the mRNA vaccine out there, the technology for it.
Yeah, this sounds like an Operation Warp Speed situation.
Right. And they did that so they can hold the patents. They sought to preserve the patents so that the governments have the rights to these inventions. Now,
okay.
And furthermore, this is a statement from NIAID, by the way, so it's not something I'm making up. NIAID has adopted a non-exclusive licensing approach for these patent rights in order to allow multiple vaccine developers to utilize these immunogens in their proprietary vaccine platforms. The mRNA vaccine candidate resulting from NIAID, I keep saying NIAID, but it's NIAID. NIAID's collaboration with Moderna, embodied in the material transferred to UNC, is an example of this approach. The stabilized spike protein developed by NIAID investigators is expressed from Moderna's proprietary mRNA vaccine platform. Responsibility for obtaining regulatory approval of the mRNA vaccine candidate, a product produced and formulated by Moderna, rests with Moderna. So, what did we hear about the government? How much did they pay? Quite a bit of money to buy,
so many dollars,
like billions of dollars to buy the vaccines from Moderna. And
right.
If you see where this is going, this is just
they pre-purchased.
Right.
They pre-purchased billions of dollars worth of the vaccine.
Right.
And keeping in mind, Moderna is the company that Fauci owns a bunch of shares of. He owns a significant amount of shares of Moderna. And so that's why he's so irritated that Pfizer was the first to come out. So Fauci used NIAID to fund Moderna, a company that he personally owns stock in, and then purchased billions of dollars through so Fauci used taxpayer dollars to boost the share prices of a company that he owns a bunch of.
Yeah, this is like money laundering here.
It is. It's like government money laundering.
It is. This is upcouncil.com, and this is just a document that says how patent license holders receive royalty payments. And the title of this article is Patent Licensing Royalty Rates, Everything You Need to Know. And I'm not going to go through here, but there's just different ways that people that own the patent can receive money.
And so the government's owning the patent, which is getting royalties on the money that the government is paying for
exactly
the thing, which is also getting Fauci paid.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, no wonder the pandemic has to keep going.
Yeah. And then this article here from The Motley Fool. How much money will Moderna make from its COVID vaccine? This is from back in December, early December. So I think the numbers are in for a little bit of this, but let me get to the numbers here. It says one analyst's projection. Bernstein analyst Ronnie Gao recently stated that he expects the COVID-19 vaccine market will approach $40 billion in 2021. After that, he looks for the market to stabilize at roughly $6 billion per year. The analyst projects that Moderna will make $1.5 billion in the first quarter of 2021 from the sales of mRNA 1273. That's the one that everything we just went through that NIAID has a patent to. And then he also thinks that the amount will go up to $3.5 billion by Q3. For the full year, he anticipates that Moderna will make around $11 billion. Over the next 5 years, Gal predicts that Moderna sales of mRNA 1273 will approach $20 billion. It's a good amount of money.
Wow.
Good amount of money. And then, okay, so to review what's going on here. NIH, the National Institute of Health, NIAID, headed by Fauci, grants research money to Moderna to develop the mRNA vaccine. And as a result, NIAID holds patents of that technology, of the mRNA vaccines. And then DARPA and BARPA, right, the bio, what is it, Agency of Research and Development, whatever, they came in and purchased billions of dollars worth of the vaccines from Moderna. And therefore, the patent holders, the NIAID, receive a royalty payment from that. And in this article here from IPWatchdog.com, breaking down Moderna's COVID-19 patent pledge, why did they do it? They basically say here that Moderna, it says Moderna, but really when they say Moderna, they really mean the NIAID. It's kind of the government, the puppet. Moderna is the puppet to the government, which is NIAID and NIH. They basically said they're not going to enforce the licensing on other people around the world who are developing the mRNA vaccine, like Pfizer. And the reason why they did that was because they have what's called, drive the diffusion. So here's what it says. Why would Moderna want to encourage more market participants and potential competitors? In a fledgling market, it's pure economics. More market participants will help drive the diffusion of the new mRNA technology into the drug development ecosystem and help build infrastructure for mRNA-based technologies within that new ecosystem. This rationale is supported by a number of sources, including 2019 Cambridge University study that found tech diffusion and infrastructure building to be a, quote, primary driver behind companies' decision to make patent pledges, including by companies as Tesla Motors, which made such pledges to spur long-term growth in new markets. So basically, they want to own the market. They want to own all of it. And yeah, at first they might be like, "Oh, we're not going to enforce anything. You guys, for the greater good of humanity, go ahead and use the mRNA technology that we developed and find a vaccine. Go for it." But that gives the government, NIAID, a tremendous amount of power, because they can at any point be like, we don't like what you're doing. We can clamp down on you guys based on our government power, our patent power, and basically control the entire market. So here's my sort of takeaway from all of this. I know there have been discussions about, does the mRNA vaccine change your DNA? And we've gone through all of that, and some say 100% yes, some say not exactly. It's a little bit murky. It's it depends on what kind of language you're using to discuss what this thing actually does. But I want to present another thesis, another possible theory here, and it's not unfamiliar to some people, but it's this idea. And think about all the stories we went over today, based about the vaccine and just everything that we've gone through over the weeks. Maybe this vaccine is a complete dud. It doesn't do anything. Maybe the entire pandemic thing obviously is overblown. The deaths are overblown. There's PCR test problems with cycle thresholds. And, there's probably a lot of people that tested positive that weren't really positive or weren't really under threat of some kind of quote unquote pandemic. But maybe also this vaccine is one giant money grab and one giant control grab by the government to make money and also to control the narrative and control the entire market of a future technology mRNA vaccine. It's going to say, because, the narrative has been, the mRNA vaccine is a breakthrough and we're going to be able, it's not just for coronavirus, it's for all kinds of diseases. So it's almost like,
yeah, well, that's the other thing with the mRNA is they're the side conversations are, it's such a breakthrough. That means we can just code this. I think it was Moderna or one of those companies. They figured it out in like a day or something. They just ran the AI or whatever they used. They figured it out in a day. And the side conversation is, we can just do this with anything now.
Yeah, so I really think just rolling all this stuff out. I mean, they already got their money, and that's why even the article we cited earlier, how they're like the people that actually got the vaccine. So what do you mean? Like how many people got a jab that's not the actual vaccine or whatever? So again, I'm just throwing different angles out there, but this is pretty egregious. I mean, anyone willing to go down this rabbit trail and take a look. I have all the documents. It'll be in the show notes, canarycrynewstalk.com. And I have it all laid out in a, rabbit trail type of situation there. But I think it's pretty gross that someone like Fauci would use his platform, use his authority to do this, to basically fund the research, get a patent on the technology, and then have the government buy a bunch of that technology. And so, again, it's money laundering. They're basically getting an excuse for billions of dollars to go into their pockets,
and market manipulation, insider trading,
all of it, man. It is disgusting when you start looking at this from that angle. And that's why we called this episode Dirty Waccine Powerplay, because guys like Fauci are making a killing on this. And a side note, one of the documents here, I actually didn't include it, but it was because in the original Moderna website, it had mentioned the Gates Foundation as a partner, but they changed it. They updated the website, so that's no longer there. And so, of course, to rid of any kind of association for people like us that are digging.
Well, and you add on with Fauci's wife being the one who allows the
ethics committee or whatever.
Yes, she's on the committee that, basically approves vaccines for use or allows them to skip ahead in certain parts of the trials. He's got a nice little gig going on.
It's gross. I don't know. I don't know how you sleep at night. I mean, you literally have to be a lot sociopathic, or maybe even psychopathic to just be like, to be okay with this, because they're profiting off of not just fear, of the people, of the population, but a lie. It's a massive lie. And at the same time, they're allowing people, or at least, if there is something about people getting infected and dying, especially the elderly. I mean, elderly people die from all sorts of stuff anyway, but then highlighting it and making it seem like it's the whole thing. It's just a disaster. I was disgusted when I went down this rabbit trail, and I had to pray it off to go to sleep, because otherwise I would have been up all night thinking about these evil people melting babies.
Well, it sounds like we should take a break then.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
Oh, I forgot one little thing, but we'll do it after the break. We'll do it after the break.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, stick around, folks. We're going to take a break and thank some of our producers, as well as take a look at some art. But after the break, Gons has one more thing, so you want to stick around for that. And then we've got some more Space Pope Reptilian updates there. We've got another aspect of the Panopticon going on in Cedar Rapids. So if is not just located in Cedar Rapids, but they've got a wonderful example of that. And then some big deep fake news. And then, of course, everybody's favorite Nephilim update. Gons will bring out the show with that. So stick around. Don't go anywhere, but we'll take a quick second and thank some of our producers. That's right. We are on the value for value model. which is, more and more, Gons, more and more, not just us and other podcasts. I mean, the amount of podcasts ditching advertising now is every day I'm listening to another podcast who is ditching advertising and trying their best to switch over to the value for value model, as well as mainstream news organizations. Now, if you don't know, let's teach you something here. Edward Bernays, the father of advertising and marketing, and the nephew of Sigmund Freud, who was one of the major progenitors of advertising in the mid 20th century. He himself, straight out of the horse's mouth, basically called advertisements or advertising, marketing, mind control, and lauded the fact that human beings need to be told what to do, and marketers like him create reality around us. And you might notice we don't do any advertising on this show. No ad reads, no affiliate codes, no nothing, because aligning ourselves with the very idea of this mind control world building exercise just didn't seem like it was gonna work out for us, Gons.
Yeah.
We make a lot less money, but you know what? At least we sleep at night. And
the
here's
most
the thing.
important information you ever need to hear. But first,
everybody loves waffles.
Right. So, you know what? Some people, I will say our producers and many of our listeners appreciate the fact that we do not indulge in the practice of commoditizing our listeners. You give your trust, you give your time to different pieces of media throughout the week. And, if those pieces of media are advertising to you, you're a commodity. You're a piece of cattle to be loaded up and sold to advertising companies for their own personal gain. And we just kind of decided that is so wrong. And so, we invite you with the value for value model to not only support a show that you trust and you would like to keep going, but also, participate in a rebellion against that structure, the advertising structure of the world that seeks to commoditize your attention. Advertising has been responsible for many horrible aspects of culture that we enjoy today, like cancel culture, censoring, big data collection, privacy concerns, all centered around the advertising industry. And so, if you'd like to support this show, but also participate in a rebellion against that way that the world works, please consider becoming a producer of Canary Cry News Talk. And you are a producer. That's not just a fun, cutesy name. Like the real world, if you pay for a piece of media to be produced, you are a producer. And that's who we want to thank for just a few minutes here. Gons, are you ready?
I am ready to thank people.
Okay. The first place that you can become a producer and support the show is over on patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk. Patreon.com/CCNT. And we've got a couple of new producers over there. First of all, defcon6.com.
Yes. Ooh, sorry. Got distracted.
There you go. Thank you very much, defcon6.com. And they left us a message here. It says, thank you guys for all you do in exposing the schemes of the Wicked One. Longtime listener since CCR 20. Oh, wow. Ooh. Yeah, that was a long time listener. If you have time, check out my website, defcon6.com, and share it with your fellow Canarians if you like it. God bless. Okay, well, let's head over. Let's see what this...
Taking a look. It's a pretty cool website here. It's DEFCON 6 Spiritual Warfare. Looks like a blog.
There
Pop
you go.
Cult, the secret agenda of manipulation.
Ooh, yeah, lots of cool... it looks good. It's pleasing to my eyeballs.
Good. Yes.
Yeah, so there you go, folks. Check out defcon6.com and defcon6.com. Thank you for becoming a producer of Canary Cry News Talk. Next up on Patreon, we have Bogdan P. Thank you very much, producer Bogdan P. Here you go. Now, I'm just going to take a quick second, do a little bit of refreshing. Oh my gosh.
Something happened to our chat.
What happened?
I don't know. It disappeared on my thing. Is it still going?
I don't know. I'm not on it. Let me go over there real quick. You mean on the live stream here?
Yeah. Everybody disappeared.
Let's find out. Oh my gosh. And I've completely lost control of my virtual reality hands. So I'm unable to help you, Cons. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
All right. Yeah,
everything's back. It's all working again.
Yeah, that was very strange.
Okay.
Is that you, Fauci? Are you trying to disrupt our stream?
Yeah,
Mr.
I think
Truth Man?
Fauci's trying to disrupt our stream. Let's see. Okay, so where were we? Patreon.com/CCNT. Thank you so much to those producers. Just doing a quick reload here to make sure nobody came in at the very last second. And nope, that's it. Thank you very much. Okay, now, here's the thing. Patreon is not the only way to become a producer of the show. A lot of people don't like Patreon, and that's okay. That's why we have canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right, canarycryradio.com/support. We've got PayPal options there. You can come in for a monthly producership. And we thank all of our monthly producers for helping to lay down a firm foundation for the show. But if commitment is not your thing, you can make a one-time producership in any amount. There's also cryptocurrency and all sorts of fun stuff like that. Gons, who do we have coming in on the PayPal?
PayPal producers. We first have producer David M.
Thank you very much, producer David M.
And he has a note. Thanks, guys. Nice and short.
You're welcome. Thank you, David M.
We also have another producer, Envision Publishing.
Envision Publishing. Thank you very much.
And they have a note here. I want to be a producer. I love your show and appreciate all the work that goes into it. I'm a struggling teacher teaching 6th graders in a mask, both online and in person at the same time. It's grueling. Your show helps me.
The hybrid model.
Yeah, your show helps carry me through the day when I get to listen to you on my 30-minute break from masking and kids. I love you guys so much. I've been listening for years. God bless you and keep up the excellent work. Well, thank you, producer Envision Publishing. And
keep on keeping on, man. That is not an easy gig.
I know. They're forcing teachers to put the masks on, and man, that's tough.
Yeah.
At least, hopefully, they're not in the physical classroom. They don't have just glass barriers between all the children. And there was that one video that people were sharing on the internet where they had spent millions of dollars putting all this glass protection around every seat. The classroom of like 35 kids or something. And she sits down at one of them in the back and she's like, if you're a kid, how are you supposed to hear anything happening at the front of the classroom?
It's crazy talk, man.
It's insane. Yeah. So keep it up there. Envision Publishing. Thank you for your support.
I'm getting very frustrated with my hand. My virtual hand is going bonkers.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm just complaining now.
All right, continuing on here. Producer Amanda G. Thank you, producer.
Thank you very much, producer Amanda G.
And she says, long-time listener, thank you for all you guys do. God bless. Well, thank you. God bless you. And, we have a new one that just came in, huh?
Yeah, we had a couple more come in here.
Oh, whoa. Is this, okay. I see what you did there.
Yeah, it's, the usual problem. But producer Saul made it into the show. Thank you very much, producer Saul. And we also had producer Philip E. come in.
Thank you, producer Philip.
Thank you, producer Philip E.
Does producer Philip E. have a note or no?
I did not see one. I'll have to go back and look. I did not see a note. Producer Philip E., if you have a note, let us know. I don't see one on the email. But also, lastly, we had a new monthly producer come in, and that is producer Kevin D.
Hey, producer Kevin D., thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, I think that is all of our producers through canarycryradio.com/support.
Yes, that is it. And we do want to thank producer Michael C. for the donation, or I guess gift or support.
Oh, wait.
Yep.
Hold on. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt. We got to give our, producer Philip E. sent his note.
Oh, he did.
And it's Snarglefath.
Snarglefath?
Yeah, I think he just slammed his head on the keyboard for us.
Oh, I see. Just blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Good stuff. Right back at you.
Snarglefath to you, producer Philip E.
Okay. Yes. And I was, as I was saying there before I was distracted by the googly eyes.
Yeah. Sorry.
You can support the show with cryptocurrencies, especially when FedWire goes down and you're not able to use your federal wiring.
It might become the only way. Who knows?
Yeah. So we want to thank producer Michael C. for the 185,000 Satoshis. And he also sent us a note. He said, "Hey, Basil and Gons, hope you have a great week. I just got back from a trip to Denver, and our plane was coming in right as that plane was going down." That's the one with the burning engine. The turbulence was some of the worst I've seen, or worst I've been in when we descended for Denver. Not surprised it was too much for the other plane to handle it. Looked like the wings were going to come off our plane. Praise Yah, our plane was okay. Shalom from Montana. So
wait,
thank you.
Was
Michael
he
C.
saying
no?
That he was okay.
I think he was on a plane. He was back from a trip to Denver, and our plane was coming in right as that plane was going down. So I think it was around the same time. So he saw the turbulence. I mean, his own plane was under a lot of turbulence.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's a good thing. Yeah, just praise Yah that his plane was okay, that it didn't burst in flames.
Yeah, holy smokes.
Yeah. So, but anyway, thank you, producer Michael C.
Let's see. It was 185,000 Satoshis is
it's a good amount.
What is it? Yeah, I'm trying to look at that. That's 0.001-ish, 0.002-ish Bitcoin.
Yep.
Oh man, I need to get a calculator. Thank you very much.
I know that's the one thing with Bitcoin. It causes everyone to bust out their calculators.
I know. I was trying to do this real quick, but I'm being very frustrated by my computer right now.
Okay, so there's all that. Thank you everybody for all the support there with your treasure. I want to thank producer Jade Bouncerson for continuously being the timestamp giver, the timestamp whisperer. So thank you to Jade Bouncerson. You can also support the show with your time and talent, and you can do that by sending us a jingle or send us your art.
One art, please.
And this first piece of art I have is from producer Saul, Quantum Solace. And this is a, what's happening here? Las Canarias.
Oh, this is it's like an album cover for our mariachi band.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh man, my Spanish is not that great, but Los Canarios del Radio. 15, what is that? 60 éxitos originales. Incluye El People Zoo y muchos más. And yes, so this is fun. Yes, he is very skillfully turned a mariachi album cover into a beautiful exercise in mariachi canary crydom.
And I'm playing my 12-string guitar that says El Flippy.
El Flippy.
And you very accurately playing
I've got an accordion.
Accordion, yeah.
There we go. I think we were onto something here, Gons.
I like the 12-string. It sounds nice. You know, it's always got that crisp double-string sound. Love it.
Jacqueline in the YouTube chat, who is Cubana, who's Cuban, it sounds like, says, "Aw, Basil speaking Spanish is adorable. You did great. Huzzah!" Yeah, I can do it.
I took 3 years of Spanish in high school, and I can't speak a lick.
I took two. No, I took one of them. No, I took two of them and was failing the second one. And I had to promise not to take
the third
Spanish 3. Yeah. Have I told
promise
that story
not
before?
to take it so you can pass 2? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I told this story. Yes, no, I was failing Spanish 2, and I said, I can't do this. I got to graduate high school. And my Spanish teacher said, okay, if you promise not to take any more classes with me, I'll pass you.
Yeah,
it worked.
After Spanish 1 was good because I learned some good, just basics and nosotros, all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But by the time I got to 2 and 3, our teacher was so lazy, and I think she was hungover every time I showed up. We were one of the first periods. She just showed us La Bamba and Selena over and over and over again. Like, I didn't learn anything. I was like, we're watching La Bamba again. I get it. The guy is a great musician. He goes down with the airplane and, so anyway, that was my Spanish education in high school. It was La Bamba and Selena.
Okay. Well, that explains a lot.
Jennifer, what's her name? The very famous one with the hips.
Lopez.
With
the hips.
Okay, so moving on, we have another piece of art from producer Kaylin.
Oh, producer Kaylin.
And I love that we got this note from producer Robert O. and done in true Daily Mail fashion. He put his entire message in the subject line. I don't even know how it fits. I don't even know how it fits in the subject line. But you want to read the note that came in the subject line?
So this is my daughter Kaylin drew this for the show and asked me to send it in. Get your all-new Flippy Bot from Boston Dynamics. She doubles as man's best friend and a cybermaid, cooking and cleaning and providing companionship, complete with her digital emoji interface. Only $10.99 while supplies last. Fine print. At night, when the human hosts are asleep, she activates her patented AstraZeneca administrator mode and provides accurate dosings and tracking for COVID vaccinations with a concealed syringe attachment in her central casing. Doses provided for a family of 5 up to 3 times. Not available for resale. Boston Dynamics, AstraZeneca, and all other affiliates are not responsible for accidental or intentional dismemberment or death that may occur. Side effects for vaccinations are listed on the label in the secret control panel, and Boston Dynamics, AstraZeneca, and all other affiliates are not liable for any of them. Update. Unexpected side effects that have been reported are commandeering. Is that the end of it?
That is the end. That was in the subject line.
Wow. And that was a cold read, too. That worked out pretty well.
Yeah, very nice. And this is a fantastic piece here.
Yeah, so for those who are just listening and can't see it, is a wonderful, a cute. It's very cute. We've got Flippy on wheels here, wearing a maid's outfit. One arm is a broom, the other arm is a spatula. Got a TV for a head, the emoji interface. But it's also got dog ears and a doggy tail, so very cute there. So, but watch out, because vaccines will come flying at you when you're sleeping. And then down in the bottom right-hand corner, there's
Sheriff Basil.
Me. Yes, there's Sheriff Basil there with my googly eyes and my angry face, and I've got my sheriff badge, and I'm going, hold me back, bro. And then you're very calmly holding me back.
Yes.
Very
well
good.
Done.
Thank you very much, producer Kaylin.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's very awesome. We also, moving on here, have one from producer Ali.
Oh, yay. Oh, yes. We've got the zombie ferret. This was in regards to the many stories coming out about our mammalian friends, ferrets, ferret badgers, minks. But here we have the 33-year-old cloned ferret. And I got to say, it's a very cute drawing of the ferret. Nothing too spooky, very fuzzy, very cute. Although there's a darkness behind those eyes. It seems like maybe something's
soul.
going on.
This ferret has no soul.
And beneath the ferret is just a simple word, brains. Which, if you look at it without the word underneath, you're like, oh, cute little ferret. But then you see brains and you're like, oh no, this is This
dark.
ferret does not mean me well.
No. Good job.
Thank you very much, producer Allie.
And last piece of art we have to share is from Mike B, which is it's the Cuomo chameleon. There you go. Is that George? Wait, no, it's Kit. What was his name? Something Michael?
I don't know. This is before my time. I was gonna Google it before the
George?
show.
Hold on, I'm gonna remember. Come on, brain.
Is it Boy George?
Yes, Boy George, and Cuomo with his OK sign.
I gotta say, when I first saw this come in, that song has been stuck in my head ever since it came in. Cuomo chameleon. That's all I know. I don't even know any more of the song.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, producer Mike B.
There you go. I think that's
and
it.
Thank you to all of our artists as well as our producers of episode 304. We truly cannot keep doing the show without the support of our producers. So if you want the show to keep coming, become a producer. And it's very simple. It's the value for value model. Whatever value you get out of this show, maybe you've been listening for a while, maybe you just catch one show a week or all three. What is that worth to you? What is it worth to be having, 10 hours? Well, that's an exaggeration. 8 hours maybe a week of diving into what is going on, the dissection, the connecting of the dots, the critical thinking. What's it worth to you? All you got to do is put a number on that and produce the show in that amount. You can do that by heading over to patreon.com/CCNT or canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
Yeah.
Okie dokie, Gons. Are we waking up?
We were until you stepped all over the jingle.
Again? The jingle stepped on me, Gons.
Hey, yo, wake up.
There we go.
You did it again.
No, that one was great.
Before we go on, let me just play this clip here. This is from 2017. 2017. Bill Gates. Where's the audio?
Tuberculosis and malaria. Well, today at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, he announced that his project called CEPI, or the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, has $460 million. He sat down with CBS News to talk about how that money will go to preparing for the next great epidemic.
The idea is to take a new way of building vaccines that could let us develop in less than a year a novel vaccine. They're called DNA RNA vaccines, and so we'll fund a few projects to build specific vaccines, but not only will we get that, we'll prove out that these platforms can work, we'll understand the regulatory issues, and it gives us a chance of being able to respond in time when the next epidemic hits. We're in the same situation we were in before, where it takes years to build a new vaccine. But the scientific idea of these new platforms could radically change that, so that a lot of the steps are sitting there ready. The factory piece, understanding the regulatory piece, and you just have to plug in some information, do some quick safety profiles, and then you can get into manufacturing quite rapidly. Well, we need vaccines for a lot of things, not just epidemics. We need a HIV vaccine, a tuberculosis vaccine, a malaria vaccine. All of those things are in the works, and over the next decade, I think most of those we'll get solutions for.
There you go. 2017, Bill Gates discussing the mRNA vaccine way back.
It's almost like it's been in the works for quite some time.
Seriously. How did they know? I remember Fauci. There's that Fauci clip too, where he's like, "This administration will experience a pandemic."
Right.
And it was like, what?
Right.
What are you talking about, Fauci? And it was all planned. All right.
Whoa. I don't know if this has been mentioned yet, but are you? It looks like GameStop and AMC are exploding again.
Oh, I haven't seen it, but okay.
Yeah, it's moving again. The Reddit stocks are making moves, up 100% today.
Yeah, but it's only at $91. Wasn't it up to like 400 when it was?
Yeah, it popped up to 400-ish, but then it was down to $40 or something recently.
Yeah.
But bouncing back.
It's a V-shaped recovery.
Okay. Well, should we talk about the Pope?
Space Pope Reptilian.
Okay. This is coming from Rappler.com. The headline is Pope Francis appoints Cardinal Tagle as member of Vatican Central Bank, baby.
Well, another reason why maybe they expose the Federal Reserve. It doesn't work well. Must adopt Vatican Bank strategies.
Oh, yes. Just let the Vatican take over the central bank. Pope Francis appointed 2 of his closest allies from the developing world, including evangelizer-in-chief Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle of Philippines as member of the powerful body that acts as the Vatican's central bank. The Vatican announced on Monday, February 22nd, the appointment of Tagle and Cardinal Peter Turkson of Ghana as members of the administration of the Patrimony of the Holy See. Interestingly enough, a story that didn't make it onto the show, Ghana just received their first COVAX delivery. Yeah, so big things happening over in Ghana. Tagle, former Archbishop of Manila, is prefect of the Congregation for the
the first time I read through this. I'm all, he's perfect? Wow.
It's perfect. Wow. Is prefect of the Congregation for the Evangelization of Peoples or Propaganda Fide.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is that a translation thing or is that...
Interesting. Is that Latin? Is propaganda Latin for evangelization?
I know. I was trying to figure it out. Okay, well, let me see here.
Yeah, that's interesting. While you figure that out, Turkson is prefect of the dicastery for promoting integral human development. Both have been touted as potential successors of Francis. Their appointments come as the Pope continues to reform the scandal-ridden finances of the Vatican. The APSA is the Vatican department responsible for administering the real estate and movable assets owned by the Holy See to fund the Vatican bureaucracy. Effective January 1st this year, the Pope transferred to APSA, quote, the ownership of the funds and bank accounts, movable and immovable assets, including shareholdings in companies and investment funds hitherto held in the name of the Secretariat of State. Veteran Vatican analyst John Allen Jr. wrote in December 2020, quote, in effect, Francis took away the power of the purse from the Secretariat of State, traditionally the Vatican's 800-pound gorilla, and transferred it to the administration of the patrimony of the Apostolic See. That's the APSA, the Vatican's central bank, etc., etc. So we have just been kind of tracking all of these financial moves that the Vatican has been pulling off. Many sort of transfers of power, along with a lot of litigation happening there in Italy, referring to or regarding misappropriated millions, especially over to Australia. So I don't know. I can't tell if the Pope is cleaning up the act of the Vatican or just making it more confusing for people to try to track and trace.
Yeah, propaganda fide means propagation of the faith. So yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, the funny thing is that they're like, oh, we better clean up our finances. Let's appoint everything to the Vatican Central Bank. It's just another one of those weird things where it's supposed to be cleaning up, but it's just kind of doing what they want to do. I also take exception here. It says here the Pope has named Tagle, often dubbed as, quote, the Asian Francis, to key Vatican posts, including his position as prefect of Propaganda Fide.
The Asian Pope.
The Asian Pope. In May 2020, the first Jesuit pontiff also broke tradition.
Oh.
That's Francis. Francis is the first Jesuit pontiff.
Okay,
Also broke tradition to raise Tagle to the rank of cardinal bishop, making him the highest ranking Filipino bishop in history.
Wow.
So he's using the Asian people to be woke.
Really history making.
And, I find it racist, man. Come on. You're going to appoint the Asian guy for the central bank? What? Because we're good at math? Is that why, Francis?
That's exactly why, too.
Anyway, sorry. I just thought I'd had fun with that. I can say that. I'm allowed to say it. Okay, so there you go, Francis appointing stuff to the central bank.
Did you ever have the feeling that you were being watched?
This is a story from KCRG.com. Cedar Rapids police ask residents to register home surveillance doorbell cams to help catch crime. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, this sounds great.
Cedar Rapids Police Department says more people have registered their home surveillance cameras or doorbell cameras with the department. In January last year, the department called for people to do this after a recent string of burglaries. This included a home on the city's southwest side. At the time, the owners told TV9 they had a doorbell camera, but say it wasn't working, and they had planned to register their camera with police since then. Blah, blah, blah. It says approximately 250 home cameras are currently registered with the Cedar Rapids Police Department surveillance camera program. That's 150 more than around this time last year. And by registering, Faircloth says police cannot tap into your camera at any time and must get permission from the camera's owner beforehand. She compares it to a neighborhood watch program.
Oh, so innocent.
Nice way to say, yeah. This is kind of like a problem reaction solution situation here. It's building the panopticon. They're like, oh, look, we have all this crime. What are we to do? Oh, well, why don't you just, make sure to get a door cam and surveillance cam and register it with the police. We won't abuse it.
That's the craziest part. The registering it with the police is, it's one thing to kind of get your own little, they're all connected to apps in the cloud, which is its own concern.
Right.
But what do you think giving the police permission is? It's registering with the police. Registering your camera with the police. I believe the small print on that is you give us permission to check your camera whenever we want to check it.
Yeah.
Or even if it's an after the fact thing. There's some funny, interesting little facts in here. Cedar Rapids Police Department reports from 2020 to now, there have been 43 catalytic converter thefts in the city. This is something one of my buddies who lives up in Oregon was talking about. Apparently, catalytic converters. And also, there's some little thing in a Prius, some little part in a Prius that's worth like $2,000 or something in copper or like in some sort of precious metal, and they just get jacked out of Priuses all the time.
Why though? Is it hot on the black market or something?
Yeah, they scrap it. They just scrap it for it's $2,000 to replace, but I think you can scrap it for like a few $100. So you pop the hood on a Prius. I guess it just takes like 30 seconds to pop this thing out. Booyah, you make $300.
Oh, jeez.
And so Oregon, which is like the Prius capital of the world, has all these Priuses that don't work because there's a spree of popping the hoods and stealing this piece. So people, there's like special casings. There's third party like protective equipment that you can get to make it so your little thingy doesn't get jacked.
Yeah, why don't we do that instead of putting having the homeowners put surveillance cameras up in their house all over the place?
Yeah,
maybe a good idea.
It's just funny because it's like, and it costs like $2,000 or something to replace it. So you buy Prius because you want to save money on gas and save the environment, and boom, overnight you have a $2,000 bill or your car won't start.
I don't mind having a camera system in your home, to catch burglars and stuff like that. It's just the part that's, buy the Ring doorbell and...
I know. Well, that's the thing. If there was a closed circuit version, I mean, I know you can buy closed circuit systems, but they're kind of expensive.
Sure.
But if somebody made a closed circuit version that does not send it off to the cloud, I would be totally into that. It seems, you've got all these privacy phones that companies are making. You get your privacy phone, you get your, they have those little boxes that you can connect to your router that block ads and tracking. There's a lot of privacy products that you can buy now. Somebody just needs to make a very simple closed circuit, affordable camera system for your house.
Yeah, well, that's the whole market manipulation there, right? You want a closed circuit system. It's really expensive, but if you get the Ring doorbell, hey, it's just a little thing you put on your front door there and connect to the cloud and the Panopticon. So
yeah, the interesting thing is when they start building these camera systems directly into homes, so you have no choice.
That's right.
It'll be part of the utilities, much like plumbing or electricity. It'll just have the cameras built right in.
I'll just have the ferret clone smear some of his excrements all over the lens, and it won't work.
Those ferrets, notorious thieves. Okay, let's talk about deepfakes.
We are in deepfake.
So we've been following the deepfake phenomenon for quite a few years, but it's going mainstream here. au.sports.yahoo.com headline says, TikTokers' deepfake celebrity videos scares viewers. Why does it look so real? So TikTokers are finally getting on board with the deepfake panic here. Jesse Richards is a 24-year-old visual effects artist, and he's borrowing celebrity faces on TikTok. Richards has mastered the art of the deepfake. For the uninitiated, a deepfake is a video of a person where their face or body is digitally altered to appear as somebody else. There are major concerns with this technology because it can be used to spread malicious or false information about the impersonated party. But what Richards is doing is pretty far from that. Okay. The Los Angelino has been making deep fakes for 2 years now, mostly as a way to entertain his 1.1 million TikTok followers. His videos are about the transformation. You see him before and after, not about tricking the viewer, since you always know it's really him. He has convincingly morphed into Justin Bieber, Zac Efron, and Leonardo DiCaprio, which earned him 8.1 million views. Why does it look so real? One concerned commenter wrote, quote, I create them to show people how deepfakes can be used for good things and not just bad things. I have brought joy to millions through my deepfakes on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, Richards told In the Know. He said that he became inspired to make his own videos by the deepfake YouTuber Control Shift Face. Richard's videos can take up to 4 days to create and rely on quality lighting and editing. While Richards is aware of people's reservations about deepfakes, he believes it will just take some time for society to understand them. Quote, when people are scared of what deepfakes can do, I always show them how people were scared of Photoshop when it came out. Yeah, for good reason, Richards said. He didn't say that. That other part was me. Quote, everyone was so worried about how you couldn't believe photos anymore, but then we just moved on and understood that Photoshop exists and that it's not so scary after all. We just won't be able to assume that videos are real right away now. Yeah, no kidding. That's the whole point. I do like what this kid is doing by bringing attention to deepfakes, because I think that's the biggest risk with deepfakes is, people are just now learning about it. Well, we've been talking about deepfakes for 5 years now. I believe 2015 might have been the first time that these deepfakes were, the studies, or not the studies, the videos were like coming out of MIT, with their super boring example videos. So I think it's good that people learn about it and can expect it. The education on deepfakes is really important, but I think this kid's just a little bit misguided on taking them so flippantly.
Well, just because he is doing something innocent with it doesn't mean that everybody else will.
Right. Yeah.
And when
that's
you look
the
at
kind
this,
of weird, subtle thing going on here.
Let's take a look for the people viewing this. And if you are just listening, go find it on the YouTube channel or Twitch or something like that.
Or canarycrynewstalk.com.
Yeah, you can do that too. There's music. Yikes. Okay, so it's just so it's him. He's talking. Watch closely. This is not the real Harry Styles. Okay, there's one right there. Let's see. Where's the? Yeah, see, he's doing it so much that I don't even know which one his real face is.
Well, the thing is, we don't know a lot of these people. But yeah, that's the funny thing. He does a great job, and he's kind of doing this thing where he will, kind of wipe his hand across his face, and his face will be new. He's Justin Bieber, he's Leonardo DiCaprio. But the weird thing is, you kind of start to forget what his real face is. He won't have a deep fake on. And I'm like, oh, who's this one supposed to be? Right. And so, yeah, there was a phrase in this video that disturbed me a little bit. But I don't know if I can find it live without boring everybody too much here.
Anyway.
Nope. No, I can't. Okay. Oh, yeah, he's trying to... Oh, there it is. Yeah. The 24-year-old hopes to destigmatize the controversial tech. And it's like, what are you trying to destigmatize? I mean, it has a flair of like social justice. We need to destigmatize deepfakes. It's all fine. They need the same rights as us. It's like, no.
Yeah.
And referring to the Photoshop issue, I mean, that remains a huge issue, especially for, fake news and, weird stuff floating around on Facebook.
Like when during the Trump impeachment trials, how they doctored, Twitter symbols and dates and stuff using Photoshop.
The Democrat prosecution photoshopped evidence in the impeachment trials. And it was hilarious because they got called out on it. And they're like, well, it doesn't matter. That was just a little bit of doctored evidence. Our point still stands. Like, okay. Oh, this is just a little bit of deep fake in this fake evidence. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's trouble. I also found this footage here. It was tweeted out from Alvin Fu, and he does a lot of interesting tweets. And basically, this video is a face that's being tracked and transformed into a digital human using nothing but the phone's camera. And on the bottom left, there's a face with a mesh over it, kind of spotting all the different angles of the face. And then above it is the deep faked face, which is of a black woman. And I mean, it's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, well, this looks like the Adobe thing to me. What was that called? Do you remember? The future of Zoom and online chatting is not a online video chat or whatever.
Right.
Is not live video. They're trying to move away from an actual full-on video feed. And what we're seeing here is an example of what they're trying to change it into. Man, shoot. I'm sorry. I forget the technical term for it. We reported on it last year, where what they want to do is take this wireframe of your face and then just send that data over the internet and reconstruct the face on the other side.
Right.
So if you're FaceTiming or something, you're not sending a big chunky video feed over the internet, which takes a lot of bandwidth. But instead, you're just sending the motion data of your face to be reconstructed on the other side. I believe that is what he's doing here. But to see how far it's come, even since last year, is incredible. The reconstructed face still has a little bit of a CGI vibe. But
it's way better than it was. And
but it's still incredible looking. I mean, if you're not, used to, it reminds me of like high-end video game graphics.
Yeah.
With like PlayStation 5 and stuff, the graphics are really incredible. Almost perfectly lifelike. But you can still kind of, but it's the best version of this that we've seen so far.
Well, if you're older and you're starting to lose your eyesight, you won't be able to tell. If I take off my glasses, I would have no clue.
No, even if you decrease, even if you just decrease the quality of the video, one notch, you wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah, and this reminded me, do you remember when Biden did one of his, I think it was a town hall or maybe, I can't remember what it was. It was before the election and in 2020. And people were like, is that a deep fake of Biden?
Deep fake Biden, yeah.
And it's entirely possible that they used this technology to clean some things up. And there was that one part where he smiled and it looked like, whoa, his smile looked fake. Like the whole kind of countenance of his mouth and everything looked fake.
You mean Biden's
mouth, yeah.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised at this point if they're using it to just touch things up. If he starts drooling or something on stage, they're like, oh, bust out the Adobe, whatever it's called, and fix it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So anyway,
the one thing that gives this away is the teeth. Teeth are notoriously difficult to animate in video games. The mouth, they just haven't quite gotten like the lighting inside an open mouth is difficult to figure out, and that's the one thing on this that I can point out that's like a little weird.
Well, if everyone has to wear a mask, then you won't have to see their teeth. That's a great point.
Yeah, stick a mask on this person, this fake person. You probably wouldn't be able to tell. You'd probably fool the most avid CGI accusers.
Yeah. Well, we got one last story for you. It is a Nephilim update.
Nephilim update. Nephilim update. Nephilim update.
You know what I was thinking with the Nephilim update, Gons?
What?
Because we have so many new people finding the show all the time, and I'm not sure if everybody is on the same Nephilim vibe.
What?
I don't know if everybody knows. Like, some people are new to Nephilim.
Okay.
Like, I think it might be new news to people. So I was going to say it before the show, but hey, might as well put it on the show. We should figure out a little intro, kind of like the Flippy update intro.
Oh, like a little
so
tagline
people are
to
new.
explain.
Yeah. So people are new. Just a quick explanation of what Flippy is. And I think we should figure one out for Nephilim update for you.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, in brief, Genesis 6:4 is where in the King James Bible, it's translated giants, but the Hebrew word there is Nephilim, and they are what we believe, and many scholars would agree, that the Nephilim were the children of an unholy matrimony between the Bnei Ha-Elohim, labeled sons of God in the Old Testament, and sorry, I just got a text message from the wife right in the middle of this. Distract me.
Yes, this is snappy. We'll find something a little snappier for you.
And the daughters of men coming together in unholy matrimony and having this race of giant children called the Nephilim. And they are mentioned.
Half fallen angel, half human.
Yeah, fallen angel is kind of the popular term used. I don't like to use it because it's more of like a cultural phrase to use. I think divine entities is more of a accurate description. But the Nephilim are mentioned again in Numbers 13:33, and the narrative is that the Nephilim were a genetic abomination to God, who said, each after their own kind during creation, and it is the true reason why God flooded the earth, not just because people were bad before when Noah's day, when Noah was running around, but because all flesh had corrupted their ways. It's all in Genesis 6. I'm wearing the shirt. I don't know if you can see it. Well, I'm not going to stand up right now, but I'm wearing the Straight Outta Genesis 6 t-shirt, and maybe that could be the tagline. The Nephilim Straight Outta Genesis 6. So I don't know. Is that good enough for you, or
no? We'll snap it up a little bit. But that was a good first run.
Okay. All right. So, yes, this story is from essence.com, and I'm going to need the help of you, Basil, and maybe people in the chat to understand the context, because I have no clue what they mean when they use the word Nephilim here. Okay.
Okay.
I have no clue what this is all about. I'm just very lost. Tariana, Tank, Balls playlist is pure friend goals. That's the headline. I'm already like,
this is some real Gen Z.
It is Gen Z. I'm losing the narrative. I'm losing the lingo here. And it says, if you've been following me here at the playlist, you know I talk about the, quote, friends in my head quite often. This week, co-curator Tariana Tank Bell is the origin behind that story. The Nephilim of Nolans is the voice of the Grammy-nominated band Tank and the Bangas. And in 2017, they gathered in Brooklyn for a free performance during the lunchtime rush hour. Okay, so that's the use there. The Nephilim of Nolans. What?
So Nolans is
New Orleans, right?
Yeah, a colloquial term for New Orleans.
Yeah. So what do they mean by the Nephilim of Nolans?
I don't know. Sounds like a nickname for some musician. The Nephilim of Nolans is the voice of the Grammy-nominated band Tank and the Bangas. Okay, let's figure out who the voice is.
Is this an alliteration? You know, is it like an actual title? Because I did look into Tank and the Bangas, and I didn't see any Nephilim mentioned anywhere. So maybe
maybe it's an actual Nephilim. I think that's well. So who's Tank? Tariona Bell. Tank is an AKA term there. So Tariona Bell is the Nephilim of Nolans.
Right. And they have songs such as, the group credits their inevitable meeting to, there's another group called Jerk Chicken Sandwiches.
Yummy.
Oh, boy, I can't keep up with this generation. They compare their rock, gospel, soul, funk fused genre to one of New Orleans' staple dish, gumbo. Okay.
Yummy.
Tank, the group recently performed at the New Orleans Jazz Fest, and the footage of their performance proves just how Tank describes childlike and magical they want their performances to be. I don't know. Is it kind of like a thing where they're saying, a giant in New Orleans, but instead of giant, they said Nephilim? Are people using that term now? Like, are Gen Zers saying, like, like if you're a giant in the industry?
It sounds like the Nephilim of Nolans is like I don't know, like that's their nickname. I don't know. Elvis
giant
was the king,
right,
of rock or whatever. Rock and roll. What? I don't.
King of pop.
Now I'm going on the
Michael
the
Jackson
other
was
direction.
The king of pop.
Yeah, king of pop. Yeah, for Michael Jackson.
Yeah, is that what this is? But instead now it's the Nephilim of Nolans is the...
That's what I'm assuming, but I'll have to find out. I was gonna... they've got a very interesting sound. Might be worth maybe looking up some lyrics, see if they talk about, my mama was a human and my daddy was a
angel.
Elohim.
I found this and I was kind of like, I don't know what is going on. Am I completely getting too old to keep
Dude,
track
Gen
of this?
Z, they're super into Nephilim, man. You don't know this?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, is that because of all the TV shows, the Supernatural and the Lucifers and the...
That actually is not a bad, assumption.
Yeah.
Nephilim have been showing up in so much pop culture. It might just be a thing that's wormed its way into the culture that people actually know about now.
So if you rule Nolans, you're automatically the Nephilim of Nolans. Can you be like the Nephilim of something else? Like, is that going to become a phrase that people use? Like, oh, who's the Nephilim of the NBA?
I don't know. Like, you should ask Kira.
I should. Who's the Nephilim of podcasting?
The Nephilim of podcasting. It's probably Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan would be the Nephilim of podcasting. That is 100% correct.
Yeah.
I don't know. That would be weird if culturally we adopted, the Nephilim as the word people use as like the king or the goat.
Yeah, that would be strange. Who knows,
I mean, we do
man?
already have the goat, greatest of all time. People say, who's the goat?
Oh,
you know, and that's kind of a weird nod to the whole esoteric, the sheep goat conversation.
The Baphomet.
Yeah, the Baphomet. The only thing else is, I guess the only thing left is Nephilim. All right. So there's my out of touch Nephilim update.
There we go.
Nephilim update. Nephilim update.
Okay, folks, I think that's it for the show. Is that it for the show, Guns?
That's it. I leave everybody confused and wanting.
There's more jokes there, but I'll let it stay. There we go, folks. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. We will be circling back on Friday, February 26th, sometime in the morning time there.
That's going to be the last episode of February. How quick was that?
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Okay. So there you go. Come circle back with us on February 26th. That's this Friday. And we'll have much more show for you. Put it on your calendar. Turn on notifications. If you have not done it, go ahead and hit like on the video and, all that cool stuff.
Like, subscribe, bell button, all. Like, subscribe, bell button, all.
That's right. And we'll see you back here on Friday. It'll be a great show, I'm assuming. And keep that in mind, too, as you go through the week. And please consider becoming a producer of Canary Cry News Talk. It's important that we participate in the value for value model in these days. The world is changing, and if you value your Canary Cry News Talk, please consider putting some value back in. You can do that by heading to patreon.com/CCNT, or if you're cool, head on over to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. canarycryradio.com/support. You can become a monthly producer, or if commitment is not your thing, go ahead and produce a single episode. And I want to thank our producers for this show, which is Canary Cry News Talk, episode 304. Producers Defcon 6, Bogdan, David M, Envision Publishing, Amanda G, Saul, Philip E, and Kevin D, as well as Michael C, coming in with the cryptocurrency. And yes, thank you to Jade Bouncerson and all of our artists for helping produce this show as well. Remember, there's other ways you can produce the show, not just financially. You can send in your art, your jingles, your music. If you are a creator or an artist in any way, go ahead and send your show-related creations to canarycryradio@gmail.com or canarycryradio@protonmail.com. if you're into that privacy thing. And we'll be happy to feature your stuff on the show. You can also help out the show by leaving ratings and reviews. If we get some ratings and reviews in, I will be reading them on the show on Friday. So now is a great time. If you haven't done it yet, leave a rating and a review wherever you listen to the show. But most importantly, head over to Apple Podcasts and leave a rating and a review there. It's very helpful. Again, convincing the algorithms to share the show with those who may not have heard it before. What else do we have here? Well, in the end, the best way to share a podcast is by word of mouth. So you got friends, you got family, they're starting to wake up to the fact that the world is not what it seems, and you can help them out and us by sharing with them an episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Remember that the Canary Cry silver giveaway. Oh gosh, my brain blanked out for a second.
Started to slow down.
Yeah, Canary Cry's silver giveaway there's only a few more days. So if you want a chance to win 1 troy ounce of fine silver. So generously provided by producer Aaron Moffat. Check her out on YouTube. Please, you're going to make a social media post on whatever social media you use. Just a couple things to include. Say something nice about the show. Use a link to an episode, maybe this episode, and use hashtag Canary Cry News Talk. That way we can find it. And for every post that you do that, you will get 1 entry to win the silver coin. So thank you so much to those who have already done that. And if you've been thinking about it and haven't done it yet, it costs you nothing, and you can win a silver coin. It's awesome. Okay, and if you need any other instructions, here's what you're gonna do. Here's the thing, guys. We gotta rattle some cages. So walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. All right, folks. Gonzo, you have any last words?
God bless everybody.
There you go. Again, circle back around Friday, February 26th to catch the next episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk, and make sure to tune in again. But until then, think outside the cage.
This guy comes to my house. He's a Satanist from one of the Satanist churches here where they sacrifice babies and melt those babies into candles, their skin, and that's supposed to give them more demonic power. And these Satanists came to my house, 5 of them, and threatened my life.
Science is truth.
Aliens.
Look it up.
Called it. Better, bigger, tastier.
Stop this progress before it is too late!
You can't handle the truth!
Everybody loves waffles. Everybody loves waffles.
I tried to tell you!
Look it up.
Remember, reality is an illusion, the universe is a hologram. Bye, gold, bye!
I want to shake things up, shake things up. I want to shake things up, shake things up. Leave the bird alone. I want to stir up some controversy. I want to rattle a few cages. I want to rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Little guy. Little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
Conspiracy
do pot. That's where I started.
Light up a huge blunt.
A joint.
Give everybody
Magic
mushrooms. Smoke. The CIA, lots of intelligence agencies have tested secretly dosing communities. LSD.
Psychoactive pills should be covertly administered.
Just put me on some, I don't know.
Give you a shot in the butt. Fluoride, oxytocin. Get a chemical hug.
I did dabble, some of that robot crack. I know what it's like.
It's a lethal recipe for disaster. You need help.
If you're a pharmacist, you need to repent.
Don't even get me started on bidets, man. Bidets, man. Bidets, man. I'm telling you, you were living the life, man. Bidets, man.
Polly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
They'll suck your blood.
Politic.
Many bloodsuckers.
Politician. Politicians are politics.
Don't let them drain you all away.
Polly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
They'll suck your blood.
Politic.
Many bloodsuckers.
Politician. Politicians are politics.
Don't let them drain you all the way. Don't let them drain you all the way. Don't let them drain you all the way.
Left wing, right wing, 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 left wing, right wing.
Two wings, same bird. Two wings, same bird. Two wings, same bird. Two wings, same bird. Same bird.
Polly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
They'll suck your blood.
Politic.
Many bloodsuckers.
Politicians are politics.
Don't let them drain you all the way. 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 Don't let them drain you all the way.
nothing. I ain't got all day. Get on my YouTube debates like the sun. See what's new. Demonetization. What's this? To my surprise, I spot a big pair of googly eyes. Click on the video and turn up the sound. What is this gem that I have found? Couldn't it read? Cry radio. Cry. News talk.
Fun fact, I believe it was another fun fact. Fun fact. Another fun fact.
Brings me back to my Screamo days.
In the future, humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo. I'll keep you safe and warm now keep the cameras on in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on now in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you in my people's zoo.
And melt those babies.
I'll make you fat and sassy in my people's zoo. I'll make you fat and sassy in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you. You, yeah, you. You, yeah, you. In my people's zoo.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.
Demonic power.